Hello, hello, and welcome to Exploring Magic the Gathering Arena. And just bear with me for one moment, folks. I'm running a little bit behind. As you see, I'm a minute behind already, which I do apologize for. No excuse for tardiness in a situation like this, but that is unfortunately what has happened here. I'm just pulling up the chat here so I do not miss correspondence, such that it may be. Okay, live chat as we want. All right. And it says waiting for incarnate, but I'm actually here. Very bizarre. Okay, there we go. All right. So, yeah. So we were doing the live at 5, or war at 4, if you will, a little bit later on. But for right now, jumping into Magic. And we're actually very, very fortunate right now. Just taking a quick gander here. So this is one thing I just wanted to bring up. This is a very, especially compared to Tessel, this can be a very busy screen. I mean, it already looks a lot less busy now than it did when I first got on. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I don't recognize. I don't know what it is, but it really isn't all that bad. But right here is where you're going to find the daily quest. It's very simple. You wouldn't know it necessarily looking at it because there's a bunch of different things you can be striving for, going for. Io, hellos! How are you doing, sir? If you're available, we might start like a half hour early tomorrow with your game, because you said it's going to take about an hour. Like I said, I kind of I told Vincenzo I'd start at 11 o'clock my time, so if we can start just a little bit earlier, that way we can ease into it, not have to rush, and then make our way through it, and maybe not have to rush out of the end. I figure an extra half hour will kind of help us with that. But hello! So this is the daily quest, which your average is 500 gold per day. That is, and what I was advised is if you see that, go ahead and hit that little, it's kind of like with Tessel, you have one mulligan, as it were, where you can ask it to do something else. So far, the only quests that I've seen as such are land-based, i.e. play 40 lands, or cast 20 blue spells, or 20 white spells, or 20 blue and 20 white. So it's stuff that you're probably going to be doing anyway, because remember, in Magic, creatures are spells. Spells are not just magical things. Woo! Spells create creatures and also do things like instants, which are spells that can be done pretty much at any point during the play, or sorcery, which are what you think of traditionally as spells, damage and all that kind of good stuff, and enhancements and all that. But those are also spells, I believe. All of this is coming from a very new understanding of everything. So typically it's going to be 500. I can start at 10:30 my time, which is, I believe, 9:30 my time. So yeah, that'll work. We can do that. That'll work. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good, buddy. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, for those who don't know, Io has been putting a game together, CCG himself, and so I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm one of the first or one of the people to be able to actually play it. There's not going to be it's not rolled out because he's lacking. If anybody knows how to program this kind of stuff, we try to get you guys in touch, but using a different method, we're going to be trying to play that where I pretty much tell him what I want to do, and then he actually executes it on his end. But yeah, so 500 gold is your average. If you see it and you don't like it, or if you like, so there's really no harm in just hitting it to try to get it up to 750. So we just got lucky. This is my first time. I've logged in, I think, pretty much every day for the past almost 2 weeks, and this is the first day that it's automatically been at 750. I think yesterday was the first time that I was able to upgrade it. So anyway, between 500 and 250, and most of it's going to be basic stuff like play lands. I have not seen one that says win 5 games, win 3 games. You've got that kind of stuff down here. Daily win rewards. Win 15 games in a day. Never going to happen for me. Not for a long, long time. I've already got my XP for it for the week. But that's another thing you get to. 5 Brawl games. I haven't even played Brawl yet, I don't think. And then that's just your XP. That's going to increase. It's kind of Call of Duty-esque in that when you win, you get experience points, and the more of those you get, then I don't know that you get experience for losing, because I haven't paid attention to the counter, but it only shows that you get it after you win. But this one's going to be fine. Play 40 lands. We're going to be doing that naturally today anyway. It doesn't even have to specify the deck. This is the deck that I'm running right now. Other than my cousin, you're first to play it. I may extend that to Remnant channel. That would be awesome, Io. Yeah, no, that's awesome. No, I am honored, sir. I am honored. And greatly appreciative. So these were the only decks that I've made. One was next level, and I thought, because I hadn't really played on the ladder at all, as it is. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna just take their aerial assault deck and add in some, which is a mono blue, and add in some other heals stuff, flying things for aerial supremacy, as it were. And this one actually didn't do too bad, the little bit that I played it. And then I decided to experiment and went a little heavier into white. Day of Judgment. This is crazy, folks. This is a 4-cost sorcery, so it's a spell, but it's a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. This is a absolute 100% as far as I can tell, unconditional removal of the entire board. It is a Dawn's Wrath at 4 cost. It's ridiculous. But for my decks, I've needed that because I'm not running aggro. You might be surprised. Did I spend money body bag? I did. I spent $5. There's like a bundle, and it was recommended by Ugnip. There's like a beginner thing. It gives you a few gems and a few more cards or whatever. But it was just kind of like an introductory thing. So $5. And honestly, at this point, that is all I'm going to be paying. I might at some point pay more if I really do get into it. I'm still on the fence. There's Ugnip. See? Look at Ugnip. He is a mainstay. I'm streaming. Ugnip rarely leaves this game. What am I doing? What's happening? What did I just click? Oh. So yeah, so $5, which to me, for the amount of, even just the amount of time that I've played already, is kind of worthwhile. And it's going to give me at least, 5 minutes worth of, $5 worth of fun and what have yous. But that's all. Now I will say, here's the big, one of the big downsides that you're gonna see. This right here is the only way, at least as far as I know, the only way you are going to be able to choose cards on your own. It's even, like, remember we talked about, hey, if you want to get premiums, now this is not for premiums, this is just for normal cards, but in Legends we were like, hey, if you want premiums, or even if you want a specific card, you had gems that were a direct currency you could use to buy them. The gems here, you can see up at the top, these gems do not buy the cards directly. If you go to decks, so my deck, for example, if I wanted to buy this card, the only way I can get it, you see it doesn't have like a gem cost or anything. I have to add it. Oh, actually, so I already have one. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but I figured I'd give you all a little bit of an intro just so you know what's going on. You see that you have 4 diamonds at the top of each card, or not at the top of the card, but above each card. If it's got a red like highlight around it, or a red border around it, that means you have it in your collection. It just has not been put into this particular deck that you're working with. So, for example, I could do this. There we go. See, now it lights up because Crumb and Get It. Nice little play on words there. It is now in my deck. If I want to get this out of my deck, you click on one, that's going to add another one, and you can have up to 4 copies of any cards in your deck. You just click on that, it goes, oops, click on that, it goes back away. And it goes back to being that color. It took me, I was like, what is the difference? What is going on here? That's the thing. And so if you don't have anything lit up, and right now the default, if you hit this little guy here, the sliders, it's going to let you change the difference up. So you can see the format, there's a crap ton. These are all different formats. These are, yeah, different ways you can play the game. Essentially, it's gonna allow you to play different cards. Essentially, your card pool. We'll get into that at a different point. I don't want to go too far into that. But as you can see here, collected is checked, but not collected. So if you click on that, collected is going to be obviously the ones that you can see very well. The ones that are a little more obscured are going to be ones that you don't have. So these diamonds above the cards are only showing you essentially that you own them, and whether or not you've put them in your deck or not. But the only way you can get these is this up here, this little flowery icon, and you see that's 26, 35, 10, mythic. Those are all essentially you're looking at common, rare, epic and legendary. Those are the how it breaks down for us Legends players. Do tell if you want to do a friendly or two to show off how the game works in a bit. Yes, Ugnip. Yes, absolutely. Wait, $50 for a deck? Body bag, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Oh, discard changes. But yeah, Ugnip, I will. Actually, that'll make it better. Rather than playing against an opponent because of the time. So give me 1 second and we'll probably jump in with you because I do want to start that process. But just wanted to give just a little, since I've learned a little bit, just for anybody else who's trying to get into it. Body bag, I'm not sure. The decks actually, or the packs cost, typically, you're going to see two different things here. You can either spend gems, which are harder to come by, or you have to use real money to buy typically, or you can use gold, which, as you saw, you get a minimum of 500 gold a day just by playing and playing enough games to get your quest out. I had one yesterday where it was you have to attack your opponent 40 times. That was the longest quest I've ever had to do because you have to actually be able to attack each time, and there's a bunch of reasons why that becomes more difficult. But yeah, so you can see here it roughly works out to 1,300 gold a day. So you're not even. Wait a minute. Yeah, one pack. Oh, mythic pack. Okay, so that's a difference too. That's another important thing. A mythic pack is what it sounds like. It's a standard pack, but you're guaranteed to get one mythic card in there. Doesn't mean it's going to be one that you want, and you can't dust any cards. Doesn't mean it's going to be one that you want, but it does guarantee that you get a mystic in there. Or you can spend 300 less, so essentially 2 days minimum or a maximum of grinding to get a pack. But packs are the only way, and so we're going to go ahead and do one right now just because it is important. If I do 1,000, that's 750. That means I could buy one tomorrow. So we're not going to go with the mythic. We're just going to go with this one. I'll show you what happens. We buy it. We claim it. And then we go up here to packs now that has a little icon, and we open up our pack in a manner of speaking. Now that is a big deal. That's huge, actually. I got very, very lucky. That is a mythic wild. These are the only ways that you can actually buy cards in the game, or acquire cards that you want in the game. Kebby G, how's it going? Doing arena basic stream? Pretty much, Kebby. I wasn't trying to necessarily do basics, but I was trying to give folks that are looking to maybe migrate that aren't familiar with it, like I wasn't, a little bit. We're not going to go too far into the weeds, but the basics of how to get cards and everything, what you can expect. And then after that, I'll actually be playing some friends and probably people on ladder, showing how bad I am in the game and how different it is, and also taking people who know the game very well, whether arena or live or both, and getting advice on how to restructure the deck, on things to look out for, things to be aware of, because there's a bunch of stuff, folks. Oh boy, talk about getting your teeth kicked. As a new person playing Legends, there's a learning curve. There's a little bit of learning curve. I would say within 4 days, you probably get it. You get it enough where you're not going to be surprised by what people play. This game, I've been playing for 2 weeks, about now, 10 days or so. And every day, it's like, what the heck just happened? What just happened? And I'm trying to find the card that they just played that did this crazy thing, and I can't find it. It's ridiculous. 6 rares or mythics. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so you're getting a little more value. The only downside to that, of course, is as I said, you can't dust the mythics or the higher end cards, so you get what you get. So if you're trying to build, like me, I have a dragon deck of sorts. Right now, I don't care about anything else. I mean, this is kind of nice for the one deck that we had, but this is essentially, it goes up here. So I now have 3 mythic, 10 rare, 25. Those are the cards where you can go into as you're crafting your deck. You can say, okay, I want this card, I want this card, I want 4 copies of this card, I want 2 copies of this card. As long as you have enough wild cards, you can construct that deck. If you don't, you're done. You're not getting those cards. You can't buy them outright. There's no way for you to acquire them directly. Your best bet is to buy a crap ton of packs or just buy them daily. Be patient. You get them daily, and usually, I mean, this is very rare for it to happen, but usually you'll get 1 or 2, maybe even 3 sometimes, I think I've seen, wild cards. And again, that's how you're going to build your deck. And that's how I built this deck here. Now, most of you, if you played this game, you're probably going to laugh at me because of how bad it is, and then you can change your where is it? Oh, there's a way to change your deck view. I'm trying to remember what that is. I found it the other day. Oh, I think it's this? Nope, that's not it. Crap. I don't remember. That's not it. But that, I mean, that shows you our curve, which isn't bad, I don't think. Actually, it is kind of bad. 1 and 2 should be a lot higher. It's better on my Angels deck. But the problem is, with that deck, everybody and their mother is running Angels right now. So I felt bad because it was just every time I keyed into a game, it was just like either a white and blue like I had, or a mono white or something similar. And it was just a bunch of heal, 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 heal. In fact, there is a 2-card, for those who have Tessel lingo, Ring of Namira OTK, for cards that you can play on turn 4. And there's actually, I was trying to find Magic the Gathering Arena gameplay, like so that I could study what's going on and see how people react to different things. And one of the first things I found is somebody actually running, they posted a video 6 days ago showing off this combo that apparently has been around a little bit longer, but it's a gal card, I can't remember her name, and then it's a Ring of Namira-esque card. It's a creature that turns into an artifact or an enchantment. And the enchantment is every time you heal, you do 1 damage to your opponent. And then when you put this one other card down that I can't remember her name, you put her down, and every time you gain health, or every time you do damage to your opponent, you gain health. And so it's an OTK on turn 4 or 5. And it's a different way of viewing the game, folks. It is a different way. People, as Cryptic Commander said, he looks for ways to break cards, looks for ways to make ridiculous things happen with these cards they put out. So you are going to get ridiculous shenanigans, and until like as a new player, I'm going, what happened? What just went on? So anyway, I'll give you the basic of the deck. Ugnip, if you're standing by, we'll go ahead and I'll queue into a game with you. He's gonna mop the floor with me, but the whole reason I built this deck was this right here. So first of all, public service announcement. Ugnip warned me about this, but I missed it. Well, he warned me about the orb. If you go into the store, they're going to have. Well, I'll show you right now. It's very deceptive. I mean, it's not deceptive, but it's just you got to be mindful. So if you go to daily deals. Are they not going to show it now? Okay, I don't see a single one. Well, wait. For goodness sakes. Cosmetics, maybe? Nope. Okay, it's not there. But every other day that I've gone to daily deals, they've got this. It's the card, but it's got this like a little like corner folded over on it. But bottom line is, those are cosmetics for the most part. You don't actually buy the card. Unlike Legends, where if you want if you buy get an alternate art, you buy it and you have that. This card looks like, well, it's a different art. I bought the art. I didn't buy the card. I spent 1,200 gold buying this alternate card art, not realizing that's what I did. But I liked it, one, because the card art's pretty badass, if I don't mind saying. But you see the enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, so fire bolts again, I'm using Tessel lingo here. Fire bolts, let's see. Okay, I'll catch up with chat in just a second here. Firebolt, lightning bolt, anything like that. When this card is on the board, it is, and this is an enchantment. This is kind of like Divine Fervor. It's like a, what do we call those again? Man, I'm blanking. You put the little thing off in the corner. A support. It's like a support enchantment. Not all of them, but a lot of them are like supports. You'll see it. It'll come down on your board, and it'll just sit there on the right hand side. But while this enchantment is going, and it only costs 6, so it's not super expensive, at least in my understanding. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 5/5 dragon creature token with flying, which is what you see there. A 5/5 body that can fly, which means it can't be, unless you have reach, is the keyword that allows a land-based critter to guard against you. They can't do anything. And every time you cast a spell, so if I put this down on that turn, the next turn I play 3 actions, I got 3 5/5 flying bodies. And there's another, I should probably get another one of these, but I'm still figuring out this one. Okay, and I can explain what these things mean more with the little. It essentially means when you tap it, if you add 1 red land. It's on a dragon creature spell, it gains haste until the end of the turn. So I could, with this on the board, and this is an artifact, but it functions similar to an enchantment. If I have both those on the board, and I play 3 actions, and I have enough mana to cast this one time, I believe, Well, maybe it may need to be per creature. So you have to have 6 or 7 mana at least, and red mana, by the way. But in theory, those tokens could all come down and wait a minute. I'm just now realizing. Nope. No. Okay, sorry. Reverse that. This is a dragon. You can essentially give dragon charge if you have enough. So this big buddy down here. Again, this is best case scenario. That is a 7 cost total. But he hits the board. If I have 8 mana or 8 land, I can throw an extra 1 down on that with that artifact on the board. He comes down as 7/7 with charge. So anyway, just little things. And again, I really like the card art. So anyway, after I bought the Writ of Dragon Caller and realized, oh crap, I now have to actually craft the card if I want to make use of the alt art that I bought. I need to actually buy it. And as you can see, the shapes are going to be different depending on the different expansions that it's from, but it's going to have that color. That is a mythic. It's like that reddish gold color, reddish orange color. Gold looks, there's gold right there. See, again, different icon, but it's still, and this is all stuff that to me was not intuitive as I came in from Tesla. I'm like, why aren't they all just have the same color gem? It means they're from different collections. And so that's a gold. That is our equivalent of an epic. And then you've got silver. Oh, that's not silver. That's silver. There you go. That is uncommon, uncommon. And then your black ones like that are commons. So that's how that goes. Let me jump into chat here. How do you have 31 decks already? I have 31 decks. How do you know I have 31 decks? Oh! It comes with it. Body bag. That is one of the good sides about it. Look at this. So I only craft. These are the only 4 I've crafted. All these other ones. See how they say enter name. All these things. These all either come with it. You get them by playing the intro that you play against the server or whatever, the kind of their story mode. It's not really a story mode, but it's kind of like it gets to another game. Everything here, and then Ugnip's Angels. That is a very ambitious deck and I think that's the girl. That's her right there. I think that's her. Where is it? No, okay, that's Ariella. No. The one I'm thinking of is a different gal. Anyway, so that's Ugnip. Every other one of these decks I did not buy. But you get the decks for free, and you get all the cards that come in them. And that's not part of that $5 that I spent. Or some of them may be, but that's it. And then they also give you these starter decks. Now, these don't count against so you can see at the top, in Tesla, we got 75. Here you have 100 decks. And they only count your decks, the ones that you crafted. The starter decks that you have to work with, every single card in here, you also have in your collection that you can use. These do not count against that total. So you can just leave them here. I don't know if you could... No, you can't destroy them because they don't really count for anything. So yeah, all these decks are all pre-made except for Next Level Experiment, Dragonfire, and Dragonfire Plus. Let's see. If you can buy pre-made decks and it costs $50, you can buy pre-made decks and it costs $50 worth of gems. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's that's the thing. I mean, Tesla, you could kind of do that sort of thing too, but there was. Because you think about it, Body Bag, well, again, in digital, it's not the same as physical. Obviously, you don't own the card. But, yeah, I think you're paying for the crafting part of it. Like, it's not just, oh, hey, here's a deck that's like, you get these pre-crafted decks. They don't charge you, you get them for free because they're not kick butt, whatever. These are, I'm guessing, these are supposed to be top-of-the-line, tournament-level deck. So if you don't have the skill to build one, and in real life you'd spend, well, we know Commander said you could spend anywhere from $3 to $6 and have a competitive deck, or his deck is like $6 or something. But anyway, so yeah, you can spend a lot, but I'm not doing that. I'll build it myself and figure it out myself. He is talking of pre-constructed decks from the high level guys, right? Exactly. Under featured. Okay, go to the store and the decks tab. Wait. Store. Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that. So decks, there you go. Yeah, so you can spend, like he was saying, $50 worth of gems. Now they're running a sale here, a hot sale. But so yeah, they give you everything. Now, granted, and they're not even like premium or special alt art or anything. They're just you get the You get the quality of the deck, which I don't know how many people actually would buy these, to be honest. Because if you have a community, like I mean, people are sharing their decks left and right. So it's not like you have to do this in order to get a high level deck. You could probably find many on the internet. There's a lot of YouTubers that are like, oh, here's my deck list. Here's how I put it together. And the deck list is not, it's not a code like we have in Tessel. It's literally a list of the cards. So you can actually see what they are. You just copy that and paste it in and it figures it out for you. But anywho, let's see. Golden Pack gives you 6 rares or mythics. Wait, I have that? Also noticed the Golden Pack in top left. We talk about it in the store. Sorry, I've already lost chat. I wasn't expecting, actually. I didn't think anybody was going to be here, to be honest. Oh, okay. Yep. There we go. There you go. Golden Pack progress. Purchase 5 more standard alchemy packs to earn a Golden Pack. So yeah, if you buy, as you continue, and a reminder, you're essentially able to buy an average of 1 pack every 2 days. If you do the little bit of farming that's required, you're buying a new pack every 2 days. 5 packs get you a Golden Pack, and that many packs give you a, what is it? A Golden Pack, which, full details, I mean, it sounds really good. It's probably, is it a pack full of mystics or something like that? I'm sure it's going to describe it down here. I do Explorer content on Arena. Oh, nice, Kebby. Okay. So Kebby G, let me see. YouTube. Kebby G, yep, there we go. Awesome. Very nice to meet you, sir. There, look at that. Okay, so let's go to the homepage there. Kebby G. Bam. So, folks, if you actually want to watch from somebody who knows what he's doing, Magic the Gathering Arena, and now Explore, but now that is, and you may have done it already, but you may want to, like, I don't even know, Explorer content. I know that's one of the many, many modes, but I'm not sure specifically what Explorer is. I know now Commander is our singleton, essentially a 100 card singleton. That's what Commander is. If you see that word, Commander is a 100 card singleton featuring a Commander, which is a legendary that you put in the deck, and you base your what you put in there on the colors needed to summon that Commander card. So if it takes 2 whites and 2 reds and mana of any color, then you would have a deck of white and red. So I'm not sure what Explore is, but Kebby, I'd be happy to have you explain that. But we can also check out the channel as well. So I've got you up there. We're gonna go ahead and subscribe. Why not? Because then I can learn some stuff. Because I'm sure, because like really, a lot of the format is not so much that the cards don't behave differently. It's just the cards that you can play, is my understanding. The cards that are allowed are going to be, unless you get into, like, they actually have, like, I guess 2 versus 2, 4 versus 4. There's multiple. You can have multiple people competing at the same time. But aside from those formats or those special type deals, the only difference, Ugnip, you did this as well. They have things where essentially you buy 4 packs. Everybody buys, I think it's 4 people. 4 people buy 4 packs. You open your pack, you go look through it, you find a card you want, you pass the deck off to the next person, and everybody does that with everybody's deck. And at the end, you've got, I think it's 40 cards. Or no, it's got to be more than that. You've got a bunch of cards that now are part of your collection, whether you do this in live, whether you do it live in a hobby shop, or you do it here, you own those cards now. So you paid for the decks, so you own whatever cards you were able to pull out of them. And then you go from there. So it's kind of like Arena. It's like a draft. It is a draft. So, but aside from that, the different formats are literally what cards you can and cannot play. I don't know that the amount of cards are different. Or how much life, but a standard game is you start a minimum of 60 cards, 20 life, and 4 of each kind. That's your standard for most of the formats, I believe. But although standard itself is a format, apologies for that. But thank you very much, Kebby G. Thank you. Welcome. Kebby says it is best to use your commons and uncommon wild cards if you don't need them to unlock as much of a set before cracking packs. Okay, hang on a second. Best to use your commons and uncommon wildcards if you don't need them to unlock as much of a set before cracking packs to gain more vault progress. Okay, now vault is something I haven't even really... I mean, I see that. I see the vault is 6.7. That's a whole other thing. I haven't even bothered looking at that. Kevin, you might have to explain what that does, what that is. I'm guessing it's the amount of, like you were saying, to complete a set. Do you get a bonus for completing a set? So if you have the commons, you will get uncommons instead of... No, if you get 100% of vault, it gives you 2 rare and 1 mythic wild cards. If you have 4 of a common and you open a pack, it gives you vault progress. Okay. Okay. Wow. That's so there's even strategy in... Why is it doing both things? I just want to do it on here. There's even strategy in what kind of cards you buy. That's very Magic, I think. Magic is infinitely more entangled. For my... Oh, there we go. That's what I was talking about earlier. There it is, right there. I'm just as a public service. This, where it says card style, I mean, it seems, you know, obvious. But card style, when it has that little tab on it, that means you're not buying that card. You are buying that style. Purely that style, not the card and the style, which, you know, for 3,300, you'd think maybe you're getting a card in there. No. If you don't own those cards, you cannot play that cosmetic. It is a cosmetic only upgrade if it's got that little thing. It doesn't mean don't buy it. Just know you have to use one of your wild cards to craft that card, and then you can slap this on top of it. You can show the cart examples in the mastery section. Oh, the mastery? I mean, yeah, there's... Now, and here's the other thing. So this top row, you get this just by playing. And so we've made some decent progress here. Wait, where are we at? I mean, considering we just started. So these are all the rewards you get just for playing and progressing, you know, in different things. So we've got packs at different points. We got an orb, which I still haven't used or sorted out the use of yet. But you get all this just for playing. Now, this bottom one you can unlock for that 3,400 gems. And then you start getting these rewards as you go along as well. As I said, I'm not at this point financially committed to the game. So I'm just going to be happy getting however many of these I can get before the end of the month. But you can see it goes very, very high. If you... Well, okay, it goes pretty high. Get up to 70. After that, you're not getting much. Might use my 40 common soon. Right? Yeah, exactly. That I might do the same myself. Hey, Denise! Hello! Sorry, I know this is probably... Okay, it's not too far back. Yeah, it's a great way to swap your common and uncommon wildcards into rare and mythic wildcards. But thank you for that, Kebby. That is... Yeah, I had no... I still may not be 100% on... Best to use your commons... Okay, so... To unlock as much of the set before cracking packs to gain more vault progress. If you get 100% of the vault, it gives you 2 rare and 1 mythic. If you have 4 of a common, okay, yeah, so it is a conversion of common rares. But yeah, it's not as straightforward necessarily as crafting in Tessel. But again, the little bit that I've played, you know, having that many isn't too bad. It's Midnight is getting used to his cage. We have to watch him a lot to make sure he doesn't harm his wound with vigorous movements. Understood, Denise. Understood. Yep. No, you gotta take care of the furry friend. And this is, I mean, it's the time for action is now upon us. Ugnip, if you're ready. Because we can talk about a lot of the other things while we're playing as well. And again, I do apologize, Kebby. This is probably going to hurt your eyes when you see my deck and how I'm playing, but I do want to catch up before we start, though. Here we go. So we got challenged by Ugnip. There it is. It's telling you have to click on this first to say which deck you want to play. Because I kept trying to click accept. I'm like, why won't it let me accept? There we go. Dragonfire, accept, and play. So I don't know what we're going to be up against with Ugnip. Maybe you can let us know. He's got a ton of stuff. He's got cats. He's got elves. He's got fairies. He's got pretty much everything. Oh, the decks are prorated based on the cards you already own. Holy cow. See how complicated it is? Or how deep it is? Okay, so big deal here, folks. Mulligan. If you say mulligan, you do not get to key. It doesn't just swap out a couple cards and you get them all. A mulligan sends everything away. You get another 7, but instead of getting to keep all 7, if you mulligan, every single time you mulligan, you have to get rid of a card. So right now, if I were to look at this, if these were all way too high, which they kind of are, but we have a lot of magic, which for this, or a lot of lands, which for this deck, which is big body heavy, or dragon heavy, I want lands, and we've got some stuff we can work in here. I'm willing to suffer with a less than optimal hand, which is what I think this is, as opposed to getting rid of it all, having a chance of getting almost the same kind of layout, and having to discard one card. So we're just gonna, well, tell you what though, because it's a friendly match and this is for the purpose of learning. So watch what happens. I mulligan. So now I get a completely different set here. This is actually arguably better than what I had. We still got some good lands, which is good. So we go keep 6, and now I have to get rid of one of my babies here, and I'm gonna get rid of probably that fella right there, even though I like him. Well, actually, you know what? Now I'm going to keep him around. It's a little greedy, perhaps, but again, we're learning. So we're going to put Dragon Whelp. That goes on the bottom of the deck. And now instead of having 7 cards, like my buddy Ugnip, who 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 probably, has 7, I only have 6 to work with. Now I do have some draw in here, like Inspiring Overseer, but we'll get to that in a second. So here we go, Mountain down. So that's my land. I don't have anything that I can play. He has 2 land. He's probably going to play something. There you go. Anthem. Okay, so there is an enchantment. As I said, it's kind of like a support. And that's going to be something... That's actually Divine Fervor. Ugnip has just played a 2-cost Divine Fervor. Creatures you control get +1/+1. I do have a way to combat that. This is a deck. She's a rare. I got her. I have 3 different options with her, and it says lets you know on the cards. So it is reading does help, but sometimes you've really got to dig down to figure out what exactly everything is. I did a little research on it. A Wicked Roll token adds +1/+1 to a creature. It can add it to her as well. And when she dies, whoever has that extra ability, that Wicked Roll, when that creature dies, deals a point of damage to your opponent. The reason I have her, and then also draw, she can do cycling, discard a card, then draw a card. She's in my deck for this. Again, I need the land. So create a treasure token is what I want, and that's going to give me a temporary, an artifact or treasure. She does have. Haste is this game's version of charge. So that's a keyword. Means I can attack. So I'm going to go ahead and attack. Why not? If you had a creature on the board, I might not. But now this is a temporary thing. When I click this, it is not going to give me an actual land. It is going to give me a temporary for that turn only. I learned that the hard way. Activating this will only... It says add 1 mana of any color. That's not add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It's add a mana for this turn. So it's kind of like a contract, a completed contract essentially that you've got on standby if he doesn't nuke it with a card. So now see, big bodies are the key of are the province of this deck. So so this is an elf deck. So he is going to be buffing Ugnip's whatchamacallits. He's going to be buffing the other elves. All right, so another mountain. I do have quite a few dual lands in here and white lands, but as you see, we don't necessarily need them. Right now, not necessarily needing the card draw. I will throw this down. Oh, and see, this is I'm only allowed to. I can only play this because of that treasure. So when it says auto pay, essentially what that's saying is you don't have enough lands. I've only got 3. I need a total of 4. I need 2 of any color land, and then I need 2 red. So I've got 3 red. But I'm 1 short, and that's where this would come in. So I can auto pay, and it's going to automatically take that. Now I can attack. Here's another thing. I could attack right now. Attack points work differently in this than in Legend. So let's just say I was going to attack with both of these. which I can't do right now, but if I did, and he wanted to, and Ugnip wanted to block, well, first of all, he couldn't block this one because he doesn't have reach. Reach is another keyword. As a land-based critter, he cannot defend against my dragon whelp. He has no way to interact with this. I can interact with him, he can interact with me. Well, let's just pretend that these were both land-based, and Ugnip is also land-based here. This doesn't do 3 damage to both creatures. If I attack with both of these, he doesn't do 3 damage to her and 3 damage to this. He does 3 damage total. And so if I were to attack with both and he decided he wanted to defend against both, it's going to give him a choice to say, how many points do you want to allocate towards each one? So he'd probably say, I'll give all 3 to this so he can take it out. And my 1/1 is going to survive. His will survive as well because I'm only... Well, no. Yeah, no, actually, in that case, I would be able to kill him because he would have to use all 3 to slay my dragon whelp. I would have a combined total of 2 and 1. He would not have anything... Would not have any... He's using all 3 just to kill this. So this would survive. He would die. And it'd go away. That's not how Tesla works, right? That's a very, very big difference. That's huge. It took me a long time to figure that out. I was like, wait, how did they just survive that trade? That is 3 total attack points for any number of... If I had another creature there, it would say, how many hit points do you want to give to each of these? How many attacks do you want? With a total of 3. So anyway, but if I were to attack right now, it would be stupid. Because it's going to give... Every time you attack, it gives your opponent a chance to defend. And every card auto heals at the end of the turn. So if I were to choose to attack right now, Ugnip would probably choose to defend. I would hit him for 1. He would hit me for 3. My Charming Scoundrel goes away, and his Elvish Archdruid is going to heal. So it's like she never existed. The damage does not accrue. So I'm going to say no attacks. That's the point of that story. And you see why this is good that Ugnip's here, because trying to do this against an actual opponent, trying to describe all this stuff would be incredibly detrimental. All right, so again, big bodies here with the elves, but this is actually and I encourage you, especially when you're playing against the AI, read all the cards. For me right now, the magic mantra is only worry about what you can control. So right now, I don't have any removal. Well, no, I do actually have a removal, but I don't have enough. I don't have the right lands for it, which this never happened. I played this deck probably 20 times in the past couple days. I've never had this much shortage of mana, but in terms of what I need, because I don't usually have this many in my hand, but whatever. So I can play mana, I can play a land, get more mana, but I can't play anything more, which kind of sucks. And again, I don't want to attack with this because it's just gonna... No, here's the thing. You gotta read, these things are crazy, you gotta read this stuff. So flying, that little, it's showing that if I were to spend one of my lands, which I've got plenty to work with now because I got nothing to play, Dragon Whelp gets +1 until the end of turn. If this ability has been activated 4 more times this turn, sacrifice Dragon Whelp at the beginning of the next end step. So essentially, as long as I've got the mana, which I do, I've got 4 mana right now, or 4 lands I can use. So I could buff him up to a 5/3. Now I wouldn't want to do that because, well, it really doesn't matter actually one way or the other. So I'm gonna, and if you click on it, it says activate ability. That's what it's referring to. So I do it once. It says there's the mana cost, so now it's a 3/3. So now it could actually trade favorably, or trade in general with one of these two, provided Ugnip doesn't have an instant that would just torpedo that whole thing. So I could choose to attack now, because this only lasts for this turn. So, but here's the thing: if he blocks with 2, yeah, he wouldn't block with 2. So we're gonna go next, and I'm gonna say, gonna have him attack. And we'll see what Ugnip chooses to do. So I've said that now. When it says, oh, so that means Ugnip is not choosing to guard me. Now here's the other downside. Once I attack with this, which I've already committed to doing, I can't guard. So this card will be down, and he'll be able to attack with both. At max, I can defend with 1. So that you gotta keep that in mind. Oh wait, there you go. Well said, Ugnip. Yep. So that was my bad, folks. It wasn't that he didn't want to defend. Ugnip definitely, well, I don't know if he wanted to or not. He couldn't have, because remember, and this is something I still am struggling with now. If a card is hovering, it doesn't mean it's active. It means it can fly. In Tessel, hovering cards mean it's your turn and you can do stuff with the cards. In here, hovering means flight. So here we go. He's playing this. Resolve means I'm acknowledging that it can be done. If I had something that could counteract this, or something that I wanted to counter, I can't counter this right now. I can hit resolve. So reach, other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. So yeah, his druid's going to get become a 4/4, and whenever it attacks, it gains life for every elf. So yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of synergy going on right now. So and this happens all the time, folks. I have been up against this exact thing so many times right now. So now, reach, death touch. So essentially, it's just a creature. Okay, you can play that. If I had an instant, if I had a way to combat these, I mean, this is how. What are you gonna do? I'm dead. I'm dead. The game is over right now, effectively, right now. So I mean, I can hit pass because there's not really anything I can do. And not much he could do, so I pass. So here we go. Here's one of the fabled dual. Now it comes in tapped, which means I can't. It doesn't go to my mana pool initially. Dual, and that's kind of that's the downside. So dual lands means I could. It's going to activate a lot of these because a lot of these you can see that it's one, and that's why I chose these because it only requires one dual land or one white one to play all these. The other one, so white is the emblem is the actual color. And if it's just a generic with the number in it, that just means it can be any color. So I chose these white cards specifically because a lot of them, they would be helpful to me, but they also require the bare amount of white land to play. But the downside to this one, now it says when this land enters, you gain 1 life. So we did gain a life. That's why I went from 20 to 21. It enters tapped, which means it doesn't count to my mana pool, so I can't use it, which is why none of these cards are highlighted. So now I can attack if I want to. But now he has reach. See, when it has the arrows like this, the bow and arrow, that means it has reach, meaning it can now target my flying creature. Because remember, these two can't do it. These two they're land-based. They can't touch my flying little whelp. These two can. And so I'm not, if I attack right now, he's going to put one of his big bodies in front, and my little dragon whelp's going to die. At this point, again, the game is over, for all intents and purposes, barring one card. I have two copies of one card in here, that could turn this game around for us, so we can keep playing as long as he doesn't have lethal here. So I'm going to go next, and I'm not going to attack with anything, because if I do, they're just going to die, and all these cards are going to hit me in the face. So right now, I have, as it stands, I can block 2 of his creatures with this. But yeah, I mean, this happened, yeah, like when I've been playing this, and I'm like, how is this okay? Like, we're at 4 or 5 Magicka, and you've got this many big bodies on here, and that just adds even more. You get your teeth kicked in on this game, badly. All right, so pass. So in the actual game, this would be called declaring attack. He's saying, I'm going to attack with these 2, and I can choose to not do anything, or I can choose to block. So, oh wait. Well, maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe they have a way to get. Nope, that's Death Touch. See, he might have something in play that'll. Because right now I don't. Well, let's see. Okay, there we go. So now I'm declaring my blocks. I'm gonna defend this against this because, like I said, I've got 2 cards in the deck that I could play. It's 2 copies of the same one. Oh, and I can only block ones that are attacking. So there we go. So even though they're very tiny, he does not. If he had trample, that's a keyword. If he has trample, that's our equivalent of breakthrough, which means, 8 of this, 6 of this would be going to my face, and 3 of that would go to my face. Unless he has that. There we go. So I lose my creatures, and watch, they regen. So I didn't draw what I needed. I can try to draw this. I think even if I get the card, I can't play it. It's too expensive. Okay, I didn't get it. So yeah, that's GG right there. But this is the kind of stuff you're going to see a lot. And I mean, I would have conceded at this point like an hour ago if I was playing actually on the ladder, because I mean, just what are you going to do? So yeah, but this is the rule, not the exception. You will be getting this. So if you don't have enough removal in your deck, you just eat it. Like there's nothing you can do about it, which really sucks. And that's why I have 2 copies of the Divine Fervor. I don't know if not Divine Fervor. What is it? It's a full screen Dawn's Wrath. I run 2 copies of this deck because I've come across decks like this more often than not. And go ahead and finish it, Ugnip. Yeah, well, nothing more to see here, really. No blocks. No point. And you're just gone. You're just gone. It's that painful. And you saw that wasn't anything complicated. I mean, Divine Fervors and just playing some cards that have synergy. There's a lot of cards. Tribal cards in this have ridiculous synergy. So yeah, you'll get your teeth kicked in. And I don't know. There is no counter to that, as far as I know. There may be and that's the other thing too. There's what 30,000 cards in the game. There may be something that's better than what the two removals that I'm running. So this is what I. Where is it? Day of Judgment. Again, not very expensive. It's only 4 cost. That would have destroyed all the creatures. That would have been a huge momentum shift had I been able to pull this. I had enough mana to... No, actually I didn't. I only had the 1. So even if I drew this, actually, I didn't realize that. Even if I had drawn it, I couldn't play. Because you remember, I only had that 1 dual. So we have all these. These are all dual lands that we could have drawn, that we didn't. And some of them have different things, like gain 1 life. Scry 1 is to look at the top of your deck, and you can either say, okay, cool, I want to draw that next turn, or you shuffle it in the bottom. And this one, remember I said they all enter tapped. That's kind of one of that's the downside of having a dual land. This one is enters tapped unless you control 2 or few other lands. And then there's another one that if you have so essentially if it's early in the game and you don't have, this is like one of the first lands you put down, it's going to enter untapped, which is really cool. That was really, these are the only 2 cards I had on my deck that were going to counter what Ugnip did there. Otherwise, I simply don't. I mean, and you could look at the curve and say, okay, you need a little more lower end cards, but what are they going to do against 3 3s and 4 4s? So, but let's catch up with chat here because there may be some interaction. Let's see. It's end of season, not month for the record. Oh, season. Okay, gotcha. I misunderstood. See, because in Tessel, season is month. So I guess its season is different in Tessel, or different in Magic. Click spend orbs. You can unlock card art styles. Okay. That's what I thought. I thought that's what Ugnip was saying. So I do have an orb. So I could have essentially, I can get alternate art, premium, cool looking stuff for pretty much anything. It's any card that you own, really. What is the point with stickers? That's a good question. So if you have 4 burst lightnings from foundations, you open packs and it contains burst lightning, it gives you a percentage towards the vault. Gotcha, Kebby. Gotcha. Okay, now I see. So again, Kebby, so that's a foreign concept because in Legends, the only way I think you can draw... No, never mind. In Legends, it was only legendaries. They coded it in some way where if you had a legendary, you couldn't draw that. You couldn't get a random legendary that's exactly like that unless it was a 3 of. But that makes sense. Okay, so your extra instead. So for us folks, you know how you instead of us dusting the extras, we hit that one button and it would make all the extras go away. He's saying that it says, okay, you've already got 4 of them. This would be the 5th one, but since I can't give you a 5th one because it doesn't make any sense to have it, that gets converted to that helps, that goes towards your vault count, which allows you to get the more expensive wild cards. I would play the Angel to draw a white card. Okay. White land. It is flying and no reach, right? Keep in mind you could have pumped the dragon 2 more times. Yeah, Kibby, but I don't know what that would have done, because it would have made him stronger, but he would have still died. Oh, right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. To do the damage, I guess before he had his critters down there, and that was Kibby, because I forgot again, as I said, it's very hard for me to wrap my brain around it. The hovering card means that they can't attack it if they don't have the hover. Bone board could turn the game around. Right, so bone board. Beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards. Oh yeah. That's a huge one. I totally forgot about that. So that is a mystic that I did buy because it exile a whole other. Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead and try it again. But yeah, so I was thinking it's gonna die. I thought he was gonna block it, so it was just gonna die anyway. I'm gonna try again with this deck just to actually, because I got into an epic game last night with somebody else who's kind of running something similar. We had the entire board. There were like 15 cards. Each of us had like, I think it was 12 or 15 cards. I don't know what the max is, but it was double digits across the screen, both him and I. And then I dropped that card that spits out the 5/5. No, I dropped the 7/7 that does 4 damage to 1 card and 3 damage to 2 other ones of a different kind. And they just conceded at that point, because then it was a 7/7 body that was bigger than their biggest body, and then it was going to do essentially damage 3 cards when it attacked. It was going to wipe out 3 cards. All right, so here we go. So we got a dual land there, which is good. We got some low cost. I'm okay with this. I'd rather keep my 7. It may not be the ideal hand, but I think it's better. Then let's see. I would block and pump the dragon to 4 and chump the 8/7 with the 1/1. All right, so I'm going to keep up with chat. So Kevy's advice is actually I'm able to follow the advice, because so here we go. Remind not to play against Ugly. I know. I meant pump dragon to 4 and trade with the unicorn. Oh, I got you. I got. Okay. All right, so we go. Wrestle Flacky. Boom. Here we go. Now see, I'll choose to attack here because, well, no, you know what? We're again, this is more of a control deck, so my instinct is to attack, but if there's something that I need to guard against, I would rather guard than attack. And the one good thing about guarding or that not attacking is you get to choose. Let's see, if I play the mountain now, I can play. Yeah, I could play Godric, so we'll go ahead and do that. And he can get bigger. I mean, there's this whole thing. So haste means he's got charge. 2 or more non-land permanents entered. So if I put down 2 permanents are enchantments, I believe, artifacts, or maybe it's artifacts, enchantments, or creature. So not a spell or anything like that. Enemy control, he's going to become a dragon. He doesn't transform, but he essentially gets +1/+1. And my dragons, if I want to add another bit of mana to that, my dragons get +1, which I don't have any dragons on the field right now. So I can attack with him, but cancel attacks. No attacks. Because the great thing about defending is you get to choose as a defender which ones you go against. That's a cool looking card. But I mean, see the snowball? It really like all right, so let's see. Yeah, I guess you always want to play. You can only play 1 land at a time. You always want to make sure you play a land like that. Just and this would have been, I put this in the deck. This would have been good the last one when he had essentially the Divine Fervor out. I put this card in specifically because so many people were playing enchantments that I put this on there, which is an instant that destroys target artifact, enchantment, or a creature with 4 power or greater. So it works as creature removal, but also I could have removed that enchantment that was giving him the +1/+1. Didn't draw it. I've only got 2 copies in the deck. So here we go. We're going to draw a card here. And we got it again, health. There's really nothing we can do. Again, we're just going to get kind of overwhelmed here. We're going to say no attacks for now. I would block and pump the dragon to 4 and chump the 8/7 with the 1/1. Okay, and by the way, so Kevy, again, thank you for that there. When he says chump, that's lingo. I found this out. Chump means to essentially put the creature up for sacrifice. So, example here, he's going to attack with this. If I were to put the Reckless Lackey down, that would be chumping because it protects my face, but I'm essentially throwing the Lackey away. Whereas if I do it with, same thing with Inspiring Overseer. If I do it with Godric, then it's actually effective. But he becomes a 4/4 if I can see. We're so low on magic. I can play. Actually, hang on a second. Dragon Whelp is 4. Reckless Lackey is 5. We've got 4. If we get, no, you know what? We're not gonna do it. Cancel blocks. Okay. I was hoping we were gonna get another land that we could play 2 creatures and buff him up, but that is unfortunately not the thing. We are going to be able to play Lackey and make your move. And now right now, oh, okay, never mind. When that happens, it means that he did not have any interrupts. There was nothing in his deck that could have actually countered that, and so it didn't even bother. I don't think any of his stuff has reach. So the only reason I would not want to attack with this right now is if I want to keep guarding, which I do. Because he could pretty much end me. 3, 6. And then again, with the buffs coming down, I guarantee you there's a 1 turn we die type of scenario here. I meant pump Dragon to 4 and trade. Okay, there you go. I got you, Kevy. I got you. Wait, but I can only do that on my turn, right? I can only make the dragon bigger on my turn. So I could have made him bigger, but I couldn't have forced it to trade with the unicorn. Right? Am I understanding that right? So yeah, again, folks, it's another instance. And again, what you were seeing, this is not necessarily an optimized deck, but that same board against my other deck is we would be getting toasted as well. So, there's the planes. Woo. Yeah. But yeah, this is the kind of thing you're going to be having to deal with when you play. So we can do this to get rid of that, and that's about all we got. And bulking up again as an attacker, bulking up sucks because he's going to be able to determine. Well, no, I guess bulking up he doesn't have. So we're just going to get 1 hit on the face here, just so it didn't go down there. We got a double, and we can go. Well, yeah, we'll die gloriously, spectacularly. 30,000 cards in the game. Yeah, now body bag, that's like in the game as a whole, but in the different formats, you're not going to be able to play them that way. You see now what he's doing right now? He's able to choose which ones he wants to block with, so he can choose like he can make favorable trades. So he's got like the smallest creature. If he had a 1/1, he could have that against my Inspiring Overseer if he had reach on there, but he doesn't. So here we go. This is what I was talking about. You assign the damage. So my Reckless Lackey can only do 1 damage. So, but let's say you could do 2 or 3. It would be saying which one, like, what do you want to do here? So I can either do 1 damage to this or 1 damage to that. So it really isn't, it's negligible here. So we got 1 trade out of it. And now that it's tapped, it can't block. I can pump on that turn. Really? No kidding. Okay. Well, that is good to know. I did not realize I could do that. But see, it says until the end of this turn. Maybe that's why it tells me I could. Okay. I mean, I believe you. I didn't see a place where I could do that, and that's part of that's another thing that's going to be really an adjustment for us. You have, what is it, 5 phases, and each one has multiple steps in it. So, it's like when you can play stuff, when you can't. Instance, you can pretty much the game is going to allow you to play that pretty much anytime you have priority, anytime your opponent plays anything. If you have an instant, even if it's something you wouldn't play on, like I have instants that buff, would buff a creature. If my opponent's playing a card, it's going to give me the chance to play that instant, but it's going to go, I have the ability to play that on his turn, to give that to him, which I would never do. But it's going to make it seem like you have that option. Now you see here, we played the mana, so we're getting the lands, or we played the lands, so we're making our progress here, which I didn't realize that you can do that in friendly games. I did not realize you could actually that friendlies actually went towards your daily goal. I thought it would have to be on the ladder. So yeah, I don't know. Against that deck, I don't have an answer for that deck. So we're not going to be like, even my other deck, the one that I think is actually a little bit better, the experiment deck. It's a flying centric deck. But you know what? Let's go ahead and give that a try, because that actually has a little more brains behind it on my part, a little bit. It's still gonna get steamrolled by that, but it has. Oh, okay, awesome. Body bag. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's do it. Body bag. Yeah. All right, now I haven't challenged anybody before, so let's. Okay, body bag. Get online. Go. Get on here. We'll play. I'll try the dragon deck with you. Again, I wouldn't call it haphazard, but there's so many cards that I just don't even know about. Let's see. Oh, is it closer to 70,000? Want to play against me short? That is why you stick to standard or explorer. Card pool's way smaller than all 70. Yeah, and alchemy. Alchemy is. I can't pump on the. Okay, it doesn't state on the card activate only as sorcery. Okay, there you go. Again, learning good stuff here. Thank you, Kevy. Friendly is towards quest as well, so you can pump the dragon after either player declares blockers. Oh, wow. Well, that makes it even cooler than I thought it was. Okay. And see, and that's something you've got to, that's something you're going to have to, that is going to kick you in the teeth when you're playing, because, so if my opponent didn't read, like if Ugnip didn't read that, when I put out that card, that dragon, if he didn't read that stat line, he would think, okay, there's this little 2/3 dragon coming at me, I'll block it with my 3/3. And then me, if I'd actually been savvy enough to know that I could do it on my turn, I could, after he's declared blocking, which means I say I'm going to attack. Once I've done that, I'm committed. I'm going to attack. I'm attacking his face, essentially. I can't back out of that. If he decides to defend in a certain way that I don't like, tough cookies, I've already declared my attack. Once he declares his defense, it's the same thing. He's committed to defending the way he has stated that he's defending. If I have an instant, or if I have that situation there that I didn't know I could use, where the card art says you can buff a character, you can do there's a bunch of cards. Almost every card has all these little gimmicks and quirks in it. He's already committed to blocking that way, thinking he's blocking a 2/3. And I go, okay, my turn to attack now, and I bump it up 1, 2, 3, up to 4 times in that one turn. Well, 3 times without sacrificing it. I do that, and now that fair trade that he thought he had, or the easy trade that he thought he had, now is going to it's going to be an equal trade, because I'm not buffing my defense. I was only buffing my attack, so I still would have died, but I would have taken one of him with me. So yeah, so there's that kind of stuff. But I've gotten into so many games where I'm trying to read the card art, but I'm also don't want to like drag the game out for my opponent. So I'm just like reading and going, okay, is there something I can do anything about? Because a lot of times it's going to be stuff that you can't do anything about. It'll be like, banish your card to the ether zone and pull it back out and give yourself 5 magicka, and then use that 5 magicka to buy yourself a brand new car, and use that car to go buy packs, and then use those packs to scan online, and then play this card, and suddenly you win the game. It's stuff like that where you're like, okay, I can't do anything about any of that. My instinct is to deal 2 damage to a creature. So at any point in that process, the only thing I can do is watch and go, okay, sure, yeah, do your thing, buddy. Okay, acknowledge, yeah, okay, do it. And I just watch the cards get bigger and bigger, and I watch, the stuff happen and cool things and go, and everything gets bigger and more overwhelming, and then it's like, all right, well, GG. All right. Body bag, tell you what, I definitely want to play you. Let me know in chat, and I'll keep my eye on the chat. Let me know when you're back in game. Ugnip, if you want to try it, like I said, we'll try a different. I'll try the flying angel deck, and we'll see if the outcome's any different with a slightly better deck, or I should say one that I've won with on the ladder a little bit more. I am at what? If you look at my, again, it's not. I'm not. This is not a brag, but somebody, even as you can see, of my limited capacity. if I go to play, find match, I am ranked. It tells me, right? Well, I mean, I'm bronze, so that's not great, but I thought it would actually tell you. I'm here. Had to bring in the garbage cans. I don't want to hear excuses, Body Bag. I don't want to hear excuses. Now, see, it's built in. Now, if I beat Body Bag, it's to say, I was fixing the garbage cans. See, that's what that is. That's laying the foundation. I'm kidding. He's probably going to rip me a new one here, but because again, I think if you're great at Tessel, you're going to be like Dano and Ugnip are already either Mystic or Platinum. Platinum 3, Platinum 4, Mystic, what have you. So if you're good at Legends, it does carry over. I was mediocre at Legends, so I am subpar in this new medium where it's a heck of a thing. Platinum 4, there you go, see? I'm Bronze 1. Okay, that's the last step before Silver. Woo! And I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ugnip Kebi, once you can lose 25 games, but if you win one, it shows your progress. Like it still goes. So it's not like the snake. You need to get 10 wins in whatever, in bronze or however many wins it is in bronze or in silver before moving up. It doesn't take away your progress, I don't think. As Kebi G says, always wait to see what the opponent does first. Right, yeah. Yep. Body Bag online. All right. Oh, hang on a second. Body Bag, I can do this. So I challenge you with my Dragon Fire. Oh, but it stops on all major steps. Silver, platinum, and such. Oh, it does take away. Oh, okay. So when you get to silver, you can't go to bronze. Okay, that makes sense. And is that a seasonal thing? Like, do you have to climb to... I'm guessing you do, right? Otherwise... Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah. So losing does kill you, which... Dude, the amount of concessions I did... Because I found my new invade, which sucks. I never thought I would find an invade in a game as diverse and as big as this. Poison / infect. Pretty much... You got creatures that do this thing, that have this effect. Think of it as lethal, but for your face, not cards. So, and if you get hit... Okay, so here we go. These are kind of... The reason I chose this guy was specifically for this circumstance, so I will keep it. All right, so remember, like, Body Bag is relatively new. Much newer than I am, so we shall see. And he's also playing on a phone, which I think makes it a lot more difficult, so we'll see how he... That goes in. All right. So we got some burning going on here, which I do that as well. All the dual lands kind of do that kind of thing. All right. When Novice Inspector enters, investigate. And investigate. See, the good thing is when you hover the card, it'll tell you what those things mean. Now, there you go. So investigate. Create a colorless clue artifact with the token with for 2 cost, 2 random mana, which he does have there, or lands. Sacrifice this artifact and draw a card. So it's essentially a card draw for 2 mana, which is not bad. All right, so we're going to do this. Now, I can play my Charming Scoundrel, who is very charming scoundrelly. And in this case, I'm going to create a wicked roll so that we actually have a way to, well, 1 for variance so that you can see it. But now we're going to go no attack. Now, Novice Inspector, again, that's very humble for keywords, for key phrases. You don't really see a lot of cards that don't have a ton of stuff in there, like Charming Scoundrel. I mean, look, it's a paragraph. Chapter 3, paragraph 2. But I did that so that I can try to control the board a little bit better versus the extra magicka that I might get, which we kind of need because we don't have a ton. But we should be able to play. Dragon Whelp costs 4. It's 2 of any color and then 2 red. We're not going to have that. Okay, so there we go. There's another one. And this is kind of what I do. I just really quick glance over it and go, draw, gain life. Okay, I don't know. I can't counter that. There's really nothing I can do at this moment. So we are going to go with Action Engraver, which is a cycling card. Let's see. And I'm gonna. Oh, restless lacking. Here we go. And we're not gonna attack because she would get blocked by this. So here's another thing too. Summoning sickness, which is, you see how this, you got this black mist coming out. When you summon a creature into there, unless they have haste, they cannot attack on that turn. They have summoning sickness, which means they're just like, I'm all disoriented. But they can block. You can block. So he put down that 3/3. So if I wanted to attack with her, chances are she'd be eaten by the 3/3. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to attack with this either. So we're going to go no attacks. Like I said, we're a little more of a control deck at this point. So we're going to play it as such. Okay. All right, so there he goes. He's gonna now. So he spent the magic, which or the land, and this is all right. So that is an artifact. I'm not sure if that's a one of or not. And see that this I don't understand. So equip detective. Oh, okay, I see. So if he's a detective, which he is, he can equip it for just one. If you try to put it on his novice inspector, who's never mind. So this is an inspection deck. So kudos to. Okay, so here we go. I don't know why I said it like that because it's not really all that impressive. Here we go, Dragon Whelp. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So remove an oil counter. I don't know why it's oil, but and now this is. Okay, so here's the thing too. Right now, she is available to attack and guard if I want to, but it says that little arrow means tap this. So if I choose to use her ability, which is remove an oil counter, essentially just a counter, from this card, I can discard a card and draw a card, which means I'm thinking about getting rid of that. But I rethought about it. I'd rather have her on the board to do stuff. Now, I do want to see something here. I want to test something. I'm going to say I'll attack. 3 attackers. Now, he's going to declare guards. And what I'm going to hope to do... Okay, this is what I was referring to. Oh, no, it doesn't! Oh, wait. It's an instant! Did I not have... I didn't have the magic for it. That's why. Okay, so that was a misplay on my part. Just a gross misplay. So what I was thinking I was going to do is do Burst Lightning after he declared attack so that I could take this guy out. But unfortunately, I failed to consider that this costs one land, and I had already burned my lands playing the Dragon Whelp. So now I can guard, but it would be throwing my life away. So there we go. Now Burst Lightning, I can either play it as is and do 2 damage to any target, which isn't really going to be very helpful. Actually, it would actually be good against this. Yeah, so we're going to go do that. Or when it says kicker, it's kind of like I could spice it up a little bit. I could add 4 magic, which I do have, and I could do 4 damage. So I could take this guy out. Or I can just play it as a 1 cost and take out the Granite Witness, which I think is what I'm going to do. And see, it gave me the option to do both there. We're going to do this. It's actually 4+1. Oh, right. Sorry. You're right, Ugnip. Yep. So it costs the 1 just to play it in general, and then you have to add the 4 to it. So 1 red and then 4 generic. So I wouldn't have been able to play it anyway. See, this is the kind of stuff that's like it's just... I feel slow of mind... So trample. So this would give I could give a creature breakthrough, which would be stupid. It doesn't add any power to it. But if I really wanted to just draw a card, I could play that. At this point, I don't want to mess with it. Yeah. So again, see, I would like to trade both of these into this one, but that's not up to me. If I choose to attack, I don't get to decide what happens after that. See, now when you get enough land that it starts having to stack, it'll actually tell you 4 times or 5 times. So you kind of have a counter. But, I mean, really, it's very easy to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, yeah. there's a lot of the stuff. I mean, I have it in my brain, but it doesn't necessarily show up all the time. Exiles 2 target cards from a single graveyard. Oh, right, that's got that. So he's going to exile 2 cards. I still have no idea what that means. As all I can do is like, there's nothing you can do about it. You just hit resolve, and they go away. So I don't know what exile does. I think exile just takes him out of the game permanently, but not because I have actually played exiled cards on that turn. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. My turn. Then you can't resummon them if you had the option. Well, no. Okay, so. There's a card that I have in here, Ugnip, that is the one that Kebby G was talking about, the bone guy, where he can summon. It says exile the top 2 cards of your deck. If one of them is land, make it into 3/1 token. If not, you can summon those, but I think it's only on that turn. So as long as I have the lands for it, I could when I play that dragon down, he's going to exile whenever he attacks. He exiles the top 2 cards, and it gives me a chance to play them if I want to. So. I guess it's like on the way to exile? I don't know. Waiting to exile? Alright, so what I might do, if I spend 1, this guy gets charged. That's 2 red. I think I can make him, if I'm reading this right, I can make him a 2/4 with charge. Which doesn't sound really good. So we're just going to do business there. And we are going to... We'll do the wicked thing again. It's going to make this a 2/4. Okay. And now I made sure I saved... 1 Magicka, one land, in order to convert this guy up to a 3/3. So we'll see if we get to do this. So we're gonna attack with. He can only defend with this, so it dies anyway. So maybe not that. Yeah, we're just gonna hold off. Yeah, it's like the 3-cost shout and Tessel. Pull a dead creature from your graveyard. Can't be pulled if exiled. Right. So it must be on the way to exile then, because it's weird because I've actually done it where it shows me the 2 cards and they're kind of like ethereal. They kind of got this like, oh, I have to remember to click resolve. That's just same as banished. All right, so we got another land there. That's cool. So we're gonna do this, and I'm not really feeling him right now. Yeah, that's decidedly worse, but okay. Oh, Restless Lackey. We can also do that. Active ability. Goodbye, Restless Lackey. Let's draw a card. There's our baby right there. But right now, not terribly useful. And we don't want to destroy that because we need the mana next turn, so... So yeah, this is a little more, I guess, even, per se. In that we're not getting trodden by that thinking cap. Like it would be really good to have the card that says thinking ahead or whatever. So he's gonna buff that up. That's gonna be a problem for us. And it's kind of cool when it does get a buff. You see that there? It actually goes underneath, so you can look in and see what it's being. Okay. So yeah, we're pretty much. Well, actually, no. we're not doing too bad here. Because Day of Judgment. Alright. Do we want to defend? Can she not defend? Oh, because they're flying. Okay, so again, see? Takes me a second. They're hovering, doing that thing, which means they're flying, which means this is the only one that can defend. I can bump him up. Why is it not? Okay, this admittedly this is kind of where I'm. See, I activated it once, but I don't want to do it now, and I can't. Okay, so we just pass, I guess. Okay, now we can choose blocker. Hey, Jonas, what's going on? Alright, Alright, Terror of the Peaks is really good. Because he can't really attack it too well. The problem is... I kind of don't want to use it just to lose it. But he's not really leaning in too much. Let's go do this. Okay, again, even worse. So either we play our Terror of the Peaks and try to fight for the board, which I don't think we can do. At least not very well, because it dies to this already. Or we just nuke the board and start all over. Or we hold off. I'm just going to hold off. And see if we can't get him to play a few more cards. If not, well, I mean, we're pretty much, like I said, I think we're in a rough shape anyway, but... So he's able to draw 2 cards. It said he had to discard 2 cards, but only if... but if one of them is a instant or sorcery card, then he only had to discard 1. Alright, so now I kind of have to do it, unfortunately. And it leaves a thinking cap. And that's a lot of time. I mean, that's my go-to. Like, every deck outpaces this one so badly. And even now, like, he's gonna get the he's gonna get the little hat. That artifact is huge, and again, he's got the human detective, so he's gonna be able to make that a. He's gonna be too big for our Terror of the Peaks. The only good thing, or the good thing I guess about it is, let's see. So wait a minute, this makes that a 1+2, so that's gonna be a 4. So yeah, we don't need the lands. Deals damage equal to the creature's power to any target. Oh, so he's gonna do a 1 point of damage there. Does he have haste? He does have haste. See, I didn't quite see that. So I'm gonna let Terror of the Peaks attack. Now he can't guard, which kind of sucks. Did you try, Jonas? And if so, are you even on my friends list? Oh, wait, what do we got here? Alright, so that's, I guess, his version of the same thing. Each player who controls the most creatures investigates, then destroy all creatures. Yeah, so no witness is exactly the same as that. It just gives you a bit more. I was going to say, the good news, though, is we've got some really awesome dragons. Sacrifice artifact, draw a card. There we go. Dazzling Angel. Razzle dazzle. Let's see. How's it going? Have you landed on Magic as your next game, or still exploring the options? Jonas, I think I'm on Magic the Gathering just because there's so much I don't understand, and there's so much for me to try to understand that I think it's going to keep me entertained for a while. That's the way of it. I mean, right now I'm just getting past the whole the card's hovering, so it's like that means it's flying. It's not my turn, kind of thing. All right, definitely not what we wanted to see, but we can hope that that's why I have him here, because he is very useful in this. We're going to be able to draw a card with him. And hopefully it'll be a dragon. Big old big dragon. Okay, it's another draw card. That's good. Give us more health. This is like a flying Bruma Profiteer, by the way. Alright. So now it's Body Bag's turn to decide what he wants to do. Now again, because we're all flying, he can attack as a... Like, fortunately, both of these can defend. We are not going to attack because I want to defend against this. Really hoping for my big body. Big body would be nice. I'm kind of stalling now. Like, I could throw this in front, but... Vigilance, Lifelink, or... Oh, Lifelink sucks. I think he just got Lifelink. Lifelink is drained, by the way. So, yeah, he chose Lifelink, yeah. So, we pretty much... I think we've lost this one. Yeah. So we've got to block it to save our face, pretty much. But then, yeah, they just gained all that. This is not what I was hoping for. We're just drawing the really low end of our deck here. No attacks. So in that way, it's not terribly unlike Tesla. You get late game. If you can't draw any of your late game cards, you're kind of screwed. But yeah, boy howdy. Now this would be another time for another board wipe to come into play, but I don't know that we're going to be able to pick that up soon enough. See, in this, I'm trying to follow it, but it's use your treasures. Then, if you want to draw, they're not draw. They're for mana. Add 1 mana of any color. It doesn't. There we go. Cancel. All right. So yeah, we're just dead next turn. Because that's gonna hit our face no matter what. It's got lifelink. I had it confused with the maps, I guess. Yeah, there was, yeah. Some artifacts are burned for draw, like Body Bag has had some. That, oh no, that's not the one. Never mind. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, so we just drew nothing but lands. Yeah, one of them does, Joseph. Yeah, that part I'm actually pretty savvy on. I'm like always checking, like, okay, wait, what's? So we have one. No, I think we're. That's 7, that's 13, so we can... This is the last play we survived. So there it is, and that is it. Yep. So, as you can see, I'm living up to the tradition. Can't win a game. Nicely done, Body Bag. So Body Bag is like, so again, that just goes to show you, he's been at this game like for 3 days, and he's already got a deck and can play at a level that kicks the crap out of me, and I've been going for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So, if you're good at the game, if you're good at Tessel and you're just you can figure your stuff out, basically, you're going to be very good at this game. If you're like me, you're going to struggle. I'm in it more for the exploration, like just trying to figure stuff out, see how things go. That's why I haven't really spent any more money on it, because I don't know that it's going to last. Like, once I figure out, oh, this is how badly I suck, this is how good everybody else is, I don't have a chance in hell, then I probably won't be going. And the problem is, unless they actually they incorporate spectating, probably won't be able to get into that either. But I mean, to be fair, that's CCGs in general. I'm not good at CCGs, so this, if I was going to play one, it's going to be this one probably. But I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick with it, because it is very punishing. Yeah, GG, Body Bag. Good job, man. Looking good. That wasn't one of the pre-made decks though, right? Was that one you put together, or was that one of these? Because I didn't recognize it. Starter decks. Would that have been something similar to, I'm guessing, maybe a modified version of Crack the Case? Oh, it's just the Crack the Case. Pre-made starter deck. So there you go. Pre-made starter deck. I thought you may have made some tweaks to it. But yeah. There you go. One of the pre-made decks. So Dragonfire is absolute garbage. But I'm not giving up on it. I'll just try to figure out a way to make it work better or something. I'm not sure. The dragons don't have a lot of synergy per se, at least that I've seen. But I don't know. As I said, there's a crap ton of cards. But yeah, we actually were able to kind of go the distance. But you see, it's a whole different vibe to than what Legends is. Like, I mean, you've got the mechanical differences, like one creature doing 3 damage to both. That you're always attacking face. You're never actually attacking cards. You can't determine who you attack unless. I mean, there's cards for everything. That's the other thing, folks. There are cards for everything. I almost can guarantee you there's a card in here somewhere. As an instant, if you're being defended by a guard that you don't want to be defended by, change the defender. Like, I guarantee you there is a card that will fudge with even that. Like, I feel like every rule in this game can be broken or is broken by a card or various cards. You just have to find them. And it's just a lot of cards to go through. That's all. Just keep working your abilities. No one starts off great at deck building. I appreciate that, Kevy. But if you haven't seen me playing Tesla, Legends, which I will admit, 100% after playing Magic, Tesla is a much more simplified version of Magic. It's not Hearthstone. I think Hearthstone is probably, as charitably to say, the most streamlined you can get. But it is. But Tesla, like, in terms of, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do with Tesla. These, like what I played, there are people doing OTKs on turn 3 and 4, turn 5, like control type stuff. Like, think of Nyx Ox combo. People are doing that on turn 5, and it doesn't have as many moving parts, but it's the spit out creature. Something gives them all haste. Something gives them all +5 for a turn, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, and you only got like 20 health, not 30. So the amount of times you can get rushed down, even by stuff that looks control-y. Now, my understanding, and Kebby, you can correct me on this, mono blue is considered to be like the Tessel, not the Tessel, I'm sorry, the either Tribunal or more so the Telvanni. It is the control, I call it aggro control, meaning it's the most aggravating control deck out there. Like a mono blue, if you're up against with somebody mono blue, it's going to be one of those sucks your will to live before smashing you in the face kind of thing. And there is a mechanic, as I was mentioning before, called Toxic or Infect. Pretty much, instead of needing to kill your opponent with 20, it's by doing 20 damage, you can just do 10. All they have to do is hit you with these infected creatures. Like I said, it's kind of like lethal, but for your face. They only have to put 10 markers on you, and you're gone. And if you're a little slow getting out of the gate, if you don't have enough creatures to block those initially, you're done by turn 3, really, because they've already put 6 or 7 markers on you, and you're just gone. So, but there's a lot of OTKs, a lot of break you in half by turn 4. And that's kind of the game. That's kind of the aim. Like I haven't, like, it's hard for me to determine mid-range versus control versus aggression, because they all seem to be able to just bump up really fast. They all seem to be able to just rip you a new one by turn 6 or 7. So I haven't come up against a control deck or a mid-range deck, or I have and they just turn 5 is considered mid-range lethal. I'm going to keep playing starter deck until I get the hang of the game. Yeah, body bag, that's what I did. Now, I think my next level experiment, I don't think I crafted any new cards. I took out some that I didn't like, because there's a, where is it? Oh, it's actually one of the starter decks, I think. Nope, not Fairy Pranks. Dagnabbit. What did I call that? It's the aerial one. Why am I not seeing aerial here? Aerial Domination. So I took Aerial Domination. I took out some blues that I didn't particularly care for. I put in some blues that I liked. I tried that, got a few wins with it. I was like, okay. And then I went to what I called the next level, which was me taking even more of the blue out and adding white in. And that was before I realized that everybody and their mother's playing Angels right now and Drain, health life deck. So I was like, all right, that's a little oversaturated. So then I'll try, red. I'll try something a little more, but it's not aggressive. It's not aggro red. It's just, well, it's useless red is what it is at the moment. Oh, Kebby, I most certainly will. Is it like to DM you through YouTube then? But yeah, I'm more than happy to ask for help on that kind of thing. They're making a Marvel expansion too, so all you nerds who boycotted Marvel are going to be happy. Wait, what? Why would we be happy? Wait, are you talking about like an actual boycott? Or are you talking about like just not into Marvel Snap? We're going to be happy? What is it? If there's an expansion, isn't that a good thing for it? There's 2-drop in the game. When it swings into you, you lose half your life. Oh, wow. Magic in the other days was more than a game. The world was different. It was like a secret thing, and you knew if you knew. Now it's just another commercialized mega IP. Well, and Underhill, I was watching another channel that was talking about the nature of the game. Or no, he was talking about like card art. And and he was saying, because he played it back in '93. What kills me right now, folks, I don't know how hard it would have been to get, but when I was collecting football cards in 1991, 1992, like I was like between 8 and 11 years old, I was collecting football cards. Well, no, probably up to 15. You couldn't find any really high-priced cards. Like looking back, if you're looking back at all the cards from back that came out in those years, they're worth nothing because they made so many of them that, like even a rookie card that would have been super rare and super expensive, you got people with bricks of cards. 1993, if you could have got your hands on 3 Black Lotuses, you would be set for life right now. If you kept them in good condition, if you got your hand on 3 Alpha Black Lotuses, which is a 0-cost card that gives you 3 mana, or three lands, which is ridiculous, but it was just one of the ones that came out. It's a very simple little card. Doesn't look amazing. So it's not like the artwork's not brilliant. It's actually one of the better artworks, I think, from that time. But that thing is worth, a near mint goes for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. So I was of the age. I existed in a time where, had I had the savvy, I could have got my hands on a few copies of that card and hung on to it. I could retire. I'd have about $250,000 at least for 2 or 3 of those. Blows my mind. I'm like, and instead I spent it on Barry Sanders rookie card. I love you, Barry Sanders, but damn. But he was saying things about the art, and I think he admitted part of it was nostalgia, and I think the other part of it though is what you were saying, Underhill, where you have it's a convergence of where the world was at that time, like Star Wars. In 77, we will never know. People who were born after 77 who weren't old enough to see it in the theater, we don't know what it was like, what the world was like, what the theater experience was like, what movie effects were like. We don't have any of that context. We only know what happened after that. So to be there at the inception of that, and when it actually happened, it's transformative in a way that can't be replicated. The convergence of factors is so unique that the cards, well, you've got some personal nostalgia, you're still going, these cards were awesome because, like you were saying, nobody knew about them. It was a small thing. It was a small group. You had 300 cards, I think 350 cards maybe in the first set. It was a much more intimate thing, and it didn't exist in the other medium, so you didn't have anything to compare it to. So it's like early comics. Early comics, you look at the artwork and go, it's not great. It's actually kind of bad, but a lot of it was because it wasn't the best artists in the world doing comics. They were looked down on. So now you have amazing artwork, and same thing with this game. You've got some really amazing artwork, but originally, I mean, one of the cards, I think the developer's mother drew it, so it's like had a very homemade, grassroots kind of feel to it. It really just took off. It was, but yeah, all that to say, Underhill, exactly right. It is different now than it was then. I still like it I'm just going, wow, there's so much to try to figure out and learn. And again, folks, if you've ever been curious about Magic, this is the way to do it, because there is some frustration where you're going, wait, why can't I play this card? Like, I tried to play it, like wards, I'm still trying to figure it out. I think you have to have, like, if you try to use removal on a creature with ward and you play that removal, you have to pay an extra mana cost or an extra land cost to remove the ward and destroy the creature. If you don't have enough, you just playing your removal card isn't going to do anything. It's not like a piercing javelin, it just does the damage. But anyway, there's stuff you got to figure out, but at least it will kind of teach you by not letting you do something. You can't do something you're not allowed to do. So you want to play this card, you think it's a good idea, and the computer's like, nope, you can't play that card. Guarantee you, it's not because the computer's being a jerk. It's just you don't have the land. There's a thing that hasn't been met, or hey, by the way, this card now has an effect on it you didn't know about because it's buried in one of the artifacts that you didn't have a chance to read all the way through. But somewhere in there, that artifact says, and if you're above 4 health and your opponent is playing this particular color combination and you have an odd number of cards on the board, this card gains immune to all things. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's why I couldn't attack it, because it's got this thing on there. And it is. I mean, I joke out of love. It is, to my mind, as somebody brand new getting into Magic, I hate to use this word, but it comes across to my brain as convoluted. It just seems so, there's just so many things that can break every single rule. It's like, well, why? And then it's all intertwined. It's like, well, but if you play these two cards, it's no big deal. But once you play this card, it enables this and does this, and kind of like no, there's not equivalent for it in Legends. Like, the closest you get is maybe what I was thinking of, Doomcrag. Okay, tiny dragon by itself does 1 damage to everything. You put the vampire down there, Doomcrag, and now he does 1 lethal and wipes out your board for the most part. But it's like 20 times more complicated than that, because Doomcrag doesn't just have that ability. He has that ability for a cost of mana, has it at a certain time, a certain phase in the attack process, loses it at a certain point in the attack process, and triggers only if you have these other conditions met. And it's just like, oh, you're not just playing cards, you're playing small books, small tomes of spell casting, and you have to actually read through them all to figure out what the crap is going on. And like I said, the main takeaway that I have from this game is focus on what you can control, because I'm watching my opponents do all this stuff, put all these things down. I don't have a way to combat that. There's nothing more I can do other than just like brace myself for impact. So you just go, okay, I'm gonna leave my guys available to block because I'm sure these are gonna get big. You do that, and then your opponent casts a spell that's like, if your creature's piddly, he just goes away and he attacks my face anyway, and the game over. So it's oh, there we go. So yeah, it's let's see. Oh, wait. Oh, is that what you were saying? There's a Magic in the early days was more than a game. Oh, right. Marvel Magic the Gathering, that wholly ends any interest I may have had. Oh, okay, so that's what he was meant. Yeah, and there was actually another channel. Kebby, you can weigh in on this because you're. I'm guessing you've been. Well, you can tell the folks. I put a link to his channel in there, but Kebby G has a Magic the Gathering channel that y'all can learn from. It looks like posts very recent. So, but you can let us know like how long you've been with the game and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, they're actually the big changes coming down for Magic right now are. Remember I talked about, and in fact, I have it. I actually have a physical copy. It's not in the room with me. I actually have an Optimus Prime Magic card. I bought it. It was like $8 on eBay or something. So I actually have the Optimus Prime just as a gimmick. But here's the tragic thing, folks. For a lot of Magic players, not everybody. Magic has said moving forward, those cards, SpongeBob SquarePants, Transformers, what is it? I think even somebody was talking about. Hey, Dano! See, and Dano's here too. So we've got quite a motley. Yo, friend, Planeswalker. See that's me speaking the lingo. Planeswalker. We as players are Planeswalker, but see again, it's Magic, so it has to be a little bit confusing at the outset. Planeswalker refers to both cards as such as this one here. Where is he? Come on. Ajani, there. Oh, no, I lost Ajani. Dagnabbit. There we go. Put him back in there. So, Ajani is a Planeswalker. As you can see, a legendary Planeswalker. They exist in the game, and that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that at a different time. That Planeswalker. But we also, as players, are considered to be Planeswalkers because we are, in fact, moving in different directions, taking land from different dimensions and areas, and bringing creatures in and summoning them. That's why creatures are also considered spells, because we're essentially summoning things to the board, is my understanding anyway. So when you hear somebody say Planeswalker, they could either mean the card Planeswalker, like Jace, the Mind Sculptor, who's another like probably the most famous Planeswalker, and then we as players are also Planeswalkers. So anyway. That's how you know that I'm savvy because I referred to him not just as friend but as Planeswalker. But yeah, so moving forward, that cards like that were considered gimmicky. Like I said, SpongeBob is the big one for me. I'm like, what? But Marvel, Spider-Man, I think that is coming out pretty soon. These are cards that are not going to just be novelties or cards that are off in their own thing. They're going to be here, and I don't know about. I'm guessing Arena, but like you could go to a game store, sit down to play a game of Magic the Gathering, and your opponent could play SpongeBob into Optimus Prime. And, well, Optimus Prime is expensive, but SpongeBob into I think Fast and the Furious is another one of the properties. There's another one that's like what, but they're getting like all those novelty kind of quirky peripheral ones are now going to be incorporated into the main game, so you'll be able to play any or all of those cards in a game like this. I could have gone against Ugnip, and instead of playing, he could play Oscar the Grouch. I don't know why that name came to mind, but he could play pretty much anything, any one of those kind of things. So yeah, Spider-Man is going to be in this game, which is I guess what Joe is referring to as a bunch of nerds or whatever that we're boycotting. And so not only that, but what this gentleman's issue was not only that we're going to get these things in there, which kind of muddy the waters a little bit in terms of lore and in terms of all that kind of stuff, but also moving forward, every other expansion, every other booster, or not the booster packs, but every other expansion is going to be one of those. So instead of having, continuing to, like, it would be like if Legends, instead of putting out Clockwork, Return to Clockwork City, or one of those expansions, they put out SpongeBob Goes to Town, and then the next time they put out the Clockwork, and then after that it was Fast and the Furious, even Faster and Furiouser, and then after that it was the next expansion. So there is a little bit coming down the pike, apparently, that some folks aren't quite keen on. But wait, it won't be standard? Okay, they will be standard lead. Okay, so does that mean anything, Kebby, to this point, anything that has been secretly, because the gentleman I was watching, I'm sorry, it was somebody who's been doing it for years, so I took it as an authoritative voice on it, so I do apologize for speaking out of turn. I seemed to know what he was talking about, but he seemed to indicate that even cards that had been, I guess, secret layer at that point will be incorporated in. But you're saying so like the Transformers one, that was secret layer, if I'm not mistaken. That's never going to come in. SpongeBob secret layer never going to come in, but there are going to be some expansions that do come in. They're just not going to be Secret Lair. I mean, do we know for a fact Secret Lair isn't going to come in? Again, I'm not questioning as in questioning your, like, whatever. It's just, am I understanding you correctly? That's we know for a fact that's not going to be a thing. Let's see. Blue is either control or tempo, which is you drop small creatures and use counter spells to protect them. Okay. Yeah, I haven't come across any too many counter spells. Most of what I've come across so far has been trample you to death green, which from what I understand, the game makes it sound like green is the color of big creatures. The downside is you got to wait a little while to get there. I haven't seen that. Every time I've been against a green deck, I've been seeing 5/5, and these are buffed. These aren't necessarily. Green has 4/3 bodies that'll come down on turn like 3 or 4, but 5/5, 6/6, 7/7s, 8/8s, and then they expand and they multiply and they grow like a bunch of little rabbits, which actually is another deck out there that's a health generated centric deck, I think. I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of health gain stuff, which in red there is, I think it's called not Lifeline, but it's called there are, and most of them in red, but there are like what's his name? The guy, the 5/4 with the like completely splaying his legs up. Something incarnate. I can't remember at this point, but that doesn't allow you to heal or doesn't allow you to drain. And so I think I'm going to put 1 or 2 of those in this deck somewhere, figure out where they can go, because there's just so many drain for pain decks out there. And that's their win condition. A lot of them. Yeah. So those are the 2 biggest ones I've seen. Big bodies very early on. If you don't have mass removal, like the destroy everything cards, you're screwed. And then life gain, which all they have to do is put down, essentially, I think it's 2 cards. There's 2 key cards to that. You put those down. And again, when you can have 4 of each card in your deck, you can just build it around burning cards, getting, you have your lands, of course, but it exponentially increases your likelihood of drawing those cards. Like even the legendaries, even the Planeswalker, you can only play 1 of each kind of Planeswalker. There's anyway, we don't need to get into all that just yet, but yeah, lots of stuff. I hope you all have fun, but this is not, yeah. I play on mobile, so trying to read the print on the cards is a pain, so deck building won't be fun until I start to learn more about the game. But again, Body Bag, it doesn't impact your ability to win, so or to play well. So you did great, man. You did great. Don't be that way, Underhill, but yeah, they're making a Marvel expansion. Magic the Gathering Hillbilly, hello, Magic the Gathering Hillbilly. Sorry for the late greetings. It's probably 15 minutes ago. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I am actually a little surprised. I didn't expect. I thought maybe there'd be 1 or 2 people that were interested in this, and I would be mostly talking to myself. So yeah, I just got to catch up with chat here. Yes, there were just baseball player photos with more shiny stuff on them. Every video I make has my Discord or email in the description. Okay, fair enough, Kebby. Then I will definitely hit you up on there. And to be fair, Underhill, I mean, I'm not going to depress you all talking about the millions of dollars in Magic cards that went through my young hands. Oof. Yeah, if you were one of those ones that I was talking about, Underhill, you had yourself a Black Lotus back in 93, 94, Alpha. Apparently there's Alpha and Beta, and the Alpha one is worth just ridiculous amounts of money. Because, to be fair, the only thing that mitigates that disappointment for me is it was very much grassroots at the beginning. I think they had 4,000 cards. Oh, no, 4.5 million cards, but $4,000 worth. It wasn't rampant. If you didn't go to one of those conventions, you probably wouldn't have even known about it. I mean, the people that saw it were amazed by it, and that's how word of mouth spread. But the likelihood that even if you were alive at that time and you were like, if you get in a time machine, you get into the DeLorean and you travel back with Doc back to the future, back to 1993, you would have to know where to go, and even then, your likelihood of being able to get the cards that you wanted were probably pretty slim. Unlike, some other things where it's like, all you had to do is go to the store, like, vintage Nintendo games. Just go to the Toys R Us, buy 2 copies of each one, keep one in a box wrapped and sealed, and you could sell Mario Brothers for $150,000 right now. So even then I go, okay, it would have been a little bit hard. But I mean, to be fair, Underhill, there are plenty of, there are cards pretty much for football, at least, 1983 and earlier, there are some very high value cards, but we're only talking several hundred. Even a Joe Montana rookie card, which is probably one of the bigger ones, is pretty expensive. Go to profile screen while talking anyway. Profile. Oh, please. Oh, sorry, folks. Sorry. Apologies. There you go. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I'm out of course. I'm going to have to get used to this if we actually have more and more discussions here. But yeah, there's my name. There's my number. And I will add you as soon as I find you. But that's it. So 69038. That is Schward 69038. Would you mind, Kebby G, if I or any... Oh, there we go. Oh, wait. There's Jonas. Awesome. I was just about to say, well, let me... I just saw your name there. Kebby, you don't have to make it public or anything, but if you did want to, I would be happy to add you. Maybe I can add you later, though. Again, I don't want to... don't need to be inundated with requests and everything, but it's so great that we've got folks that love some of the artwork. Wait a minute. Oh, my advice, don't hang on. Fair enough, Underhill. Fair enough. Love some of the artwork. Hillbilly, are you referring to in Magic the Gathering? You're talking about Legends? Which one? I do. I actually have been finding artwork, like big art of some of the cards. I've actually now bought, I think about 20 cards, all because of the art. I'm excited the fact that I can actually play a game digitally, but I can actually have the physical card of the copy of the card as well. And I just think some of the art is gorgeous. Like the card I showed you, the card that got me into the red. I think it's, beautiful dragon stuff. A lot of it's disturbing. There's a lot of disturbing art in here. Like Mummify has nothing on a lot of the cards in here. They're very creepers, but a lot of beautiful art as well. And all over the place in terms of, some of it's kind of basic, some of it's very complex and just looks like amazing. Yes, and that and homemade and perfect feel lended hugely to the feeling of it being something more than just a card. Gotcha. Which is probably, I guess, that would be similar to what sports cards were when they first started as well. They were very basic, no gloss, no glam, just kind of a hand-drawn or hand-painted image of the guy, and it was probably a card about that big. And, kids got him with, packs of gum and stuff like that. Didn't really think much of them. Yeah, and crazy powerful cards like Time Warp and Ali from Cairo. I have heard about Time Warp and Ali. That's not the first time I've seen that name. I thought it was Ali plus Kismet decks were unbeatable. I feel like that way about a lot of these decks. And now, obviously, Underhill, you have more experience, but a lot of the decks that I see, like Ugnip's. Ugnip, he said he's like, this is a deck that's fun. I don't usually win with it or don't always win with it. I'm like, I don't know how you beat that. You can't. You can only run 4 removal. How in the world do you beat that? But I'm guessing once you get to know the game better, you pick that kind of thing up. Ah, yes, the one-sided draws in Magic the Gathering are where I've been talking about. The draws are rigged. It's already been proven. Joseph is emphatic about this. You will get better or worse hands depending on your latest win-loss streak. Okay, that I can say is false, Joseph. I can say that is absolutely false. I've lost like 15 games in a row. So I don't know how many I have to lose before I get a good draw, but 15 games and power outage. There we go. We would be off the air right now, completely shut down, were it not for the brilliant invention of the UPS. I've been playing for 14 years. Holy cow, Kebby. Nice. So let's see. Well, yeah, because I saw in one of your videos, I was like, oh, he looks like a younger fella. Yeah. So you're probably late 20s, early 30s? Mid to late 20s? Because I know people that are my age, typically they've been playing for like 30 years because they were like 13 when the game came out, 13, 14, 15. So about half of that. So I'm guessing, yeah, right around there. You don't have to tell me. I find it interesting to try to head exercise based on what kind of games people like, video games and other stuff, when they started playing, what their favorite systems are. I try to peg the age based on that. I've gotten pretty good within about 3 to 5 years. I only know one card, the cheese stands alone. Wait. Seriously, it gamifies the meta? I think so. I oddly would have been okay with Final Fantasy being included. Underhill, way to back that line up, boy. He's like, oh no, commercialized it? That's absolutely not. Oh, that's disgusting. I'll never play it now. Well, okay, I actually don't mind that fun. Now, to your credit, now if y'all haven't seen it, perhaps if you haven't looked, they've got Wild West type stuff in here. I mean, it's magicified or arenafied, if you will. But like they've got Wild West themed stuff. They've got pirates. They've got, they've got a wide variety. So it's not like the Final Fantasy. A lot of the designs probably wouldn't look too out of place. The only difference is you've got more of an anime style, which doesn't necessarily gel with everything else. But if they did kind of what you would expect them to do, which is make them look magic-fied, they're probably not going to break the aesthetic. They're not going to look really bizarre in it because it's, swords and whatever. So it's going to look more fitting than Marvel, where you got Wolverine and Spider-Man and stuff running around. But, I mean, the other thing, too, is a lot of those are going to be, I guess, planeswalkers, maybe? Like, well, no, because I guess they would just be legendaries. You can play secret layer cards in Legacy, Commander, etc. Really, Kebby? Now, I looked for Optimus in here, and I didn't see him. Am I just missing it, or like I'm not going to play with him because he's very expensive, but I am kind of curious. Oh, that's searching decks. If I go to my decks, I'm just curious. That would be a trip. Yeah, see, I didn't see him in here, so maybe they haven't brought it into Arena, perhaps. But that's all good. Like I said, I probably wouldn't play with him. I just thought it was a cool thing to see Optimus as a Magic the Gathering card. Oh, profile, right? There we go. False. Big bodies. Yes, indeed, Dano. Big bodies. Lots of big bodies. I'll let you in on a little secret. Suggesting when talking, just go to profile screen, then people want to see your number can add you. 50% of all unlimited cards are fake and were printed in Cincinnati in 1997. Unlimited cards? I'm not familiar with those. I knew the guy that did it. Schwartz 69, is it? Oh, it is! I just noticed that. Dano, well, naughty Dano, but accurate as well, yes. Schwartz 69. Yeah, yes, indeed. I'm surprised it's not 69,420 because, I mean, that's that's just me to a T, baby. Fun fact, Magic the Gathering has now banned AI art from February 2024, so only made by artists. Well, I mean, that's good. That's good. That's really good, actually. I'm not opposed to AI art in general, just kind of being there, people creating their own stuff. But for something like this, like anything where art is as a centerpiece of what you're doing, like comic books or whatever, that as a commercial thing or as something that, wanting to buy, I want human hands involved more so than just going, sketchy looking guy, blue aura around his eyes, hooded, black hair, chiseled, Tom Cruise-esque, magic medallion stuff. Although, to be fair, if this was AI right now, he'd have 6 fingers and the thumb would be sticking out of his ear. But other than that, it would be beautiful artwork. Oh, nice, Kebby. Thank you. All right, cool. I shall add you, my friend. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here with me through this. And sorry, I haven't been able to keep up, but I'm excited to be plugging into the Magic community because it is huge. It is robust. We, for those who don't know, Legends, which is what we're going to be watching in about 50 minutes, is what most of us here have been playing, but that has been given the death sentence as of January 30th, 2025. And even at its peak, I think, and y'all can correct me, but I think we read that at its peak, Legends had maybe 9,000 players, like active players, concurrent players. Whereas Magic has always been in the millions. I think, it's 50 million active players and then 13 million 30 million or something like that playing Arena. So it's just crazy. It's almost like being like you're kind of just chilling in the ocean. You're kind of swimming around, swimming through the currents, and then you slide into the jet stream. It's like, choom! Like, holy crap! It's a lot of people, a lot of cards, a lot of things to go on, a lot of stuff to learn. I know absolutely nothing, and I play like I know even less. Joseph, I sent you a message on Discord. Oh, Joe. I'm not discounting that, Joe. I'm not discounting the reality of the draw thing. All I'm saying, if I'm going to say anything, is that I would not be surprised if the same thing wasn't true in Legends. I would be very surprised if there was not some algorithm that adjusted for the amount of times you lost versus the amount of time, like, and the kind of cards you ran. Like, if you ran more cards, you probably had a less, your draw might not be as good, or your likelihood of drawing stuff. Like, I feel like the draw in Legends was quirky enough and sometimes predictable enough. Wasn't it you were saying, why is it always we're getting Red Brahmin on curve? Everybody always draws them on curve. I think there's enough skepticism in me that would say that Legends was not just pure random algorithm. Absolutely nothing affects what you draw or when, other than just absolute pure chance. I would suspect that has been a little more prevalent, even in games that we have been playing. Of the data, I'm not just making this up like some tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. I've seen your tinfoil hat, Joseph. It's very shiny, but I've seen it. Just read it, so figured they actually had to do it. Oh wait, Baldric? Oh, there we go. I somehow doubt they'll enforce that. They have a history of treating their long-lasting artists like shit. No kidding, Baldric. I didn't know that. I mean, there's a lot that I've been trying to figure out the basic, like, where the game came from, how it got started, a little bit of the lore. I'm not necessarily, which is the inverse, right? A lot of folks got into Tessel purely because it was Legends. It was Elder Scrolls. A lot of us was not advertised. We had no idea the game even existed. It was like, oh wait, this is Skyrim? Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Whereas, like, it's almost the inverse with this. I'm trying Magic because of the game itself, and then whatever lore happens to be there, it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of cool. Flavor text and whatever. But I'm not necessarily for the lore. It's like motorcycle riding for me. I like to ride the motorcycle. I'm not necessarily a gearhead. So, like, I'm interested in playing the game, but I'm not necessarily like, ooh, like, let's get into the lore. But that said, there are things, too, just on a meta perspective, like you're saying, like, depending on how they treat artists, on how they're planning to expand the game, in what directions they're going to take it. But I'm willing to at least give it a shake, I guess, is where that's at. But, oh, wow. One of the reasons I left Paper Magic years back is their treatment of their artists. Man. Well, that is a principled stand, my friend. That is a principled stand. I hope they've gotten better, but I imagine if they were treating them like that back then, they probably aren't doing much. Because back then, it was a much smaller group. You'd think that's when everybody was getting along and everybody's getting treated well. When you get to like mega corporation level like it is now, you'd think it would be even worse. But it's hard too, because then you hear about that and you go, well, I don't want to support that. At the same time, I go, well, I had a discussion with my friend. We were talking about like Nike. Like, they're one of the ones that, like, the most prominent, your shoes come out of a sweatshop kind of companies. But a lot of the other companies do too. So it's like, okay, unless you're going to go with like one or two of the few shoemakers who decidedly say we do not use this kind of labor, like making a stand against one of them is like, well, what about all the other ones? And so it's like, I don't know, like but then you look at Legends, you go, well, how did they treat the play? We had 2 years, as Underhill pointed out. I didn't even realize 2 years. We had 2 years where this game was actually being supported and active. And arguably the last 2 months of that last year were absolute screw jobs. So I don't know. But it's just one of those things. I can appreciate and understand saying, you know what? You treat a company, the company treats people badly. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm just going at this point, like, how many games out there do we have where they actually they'll make a stand. They'll say, oh, we're championing these values. It's like, I don't care about that. How do you actually treat your workers? How do you pay them? Well, they don't get paid well, but we're big proponents of these, social programs. And it's like, well, that and a nickel. Yeah, probably due to backlash. They were caught 3 times that I know of with using AI art. Oh my gosh. Good grief. Times I'm starting to write like Tyson Speaks. It's okay. It's okay, Baldrick. You're fine. You're good. I understand. I understand what you're talking. Just don't start punching like him, because if you do that, it's probably not going to go well for you. You'll get beaten by who's the guy that he so-called fought that neither one of them really seemed to be swinging punches at. The line against AI is going to slowly fade until nobody cares. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, at some point, you're not. It's not going to be Uncanny Valley. There's not going to be any. I mean, I've already seen like little shorts, like what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds of just a character kind of standing and looking off. 100% AI. There are moments where one of the frames will be out of sync with the rest of them. Like it kind of does, but it's getting there. In 10 years, I think AI will be indiscernible from both art and even movies, films, even voices. Like, it's going to be indiscernible in 10 years or less at the way it's going now. So, but I think it'll be a kind of like a badge of honor type thing. Like, you'll have artists, but they will be maybe even more niche than they are in general. Like, art is already kind of a niche thing, but it's going to be like this is handmade art, or this is a hand painted piece, versus going into a store and being like, oh, of course they're all hand painted. They're all canvas on the wall. No, half of them, or 30% to 70% of them, are done by AI. It's like, I'm not pro AI, but everything goes that way. Yeah, you would have to check against the cards you don't own too. I don't know if Optimus is on Arena. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I wouldn't expect, because I'm guessing like none of those secret things are just yet. Maybe, Kebby, possibly. But it's okay. Like I said, it's not a big. I didn't get into Magic because I just thought it was kind of cool that you have Transformers in the world in general. But I don't know that I ever wanted to like play him in a deck. But yeah, Underhill. I mean, the nature of technology has never been self-restraint. Like every technological thing we've had, nobody's ever gone, okay, here or no further. That's never happened. Never in the history of development of anything have we ever said, okay, enough is enough, or we've taken this far enough. Let's stop trying to develop this technology. Let's stop trying to do this. It always is take it as far as it can go until it breaks. And at this point, who knows what breaking looks like? But that's the artists are not happy with Wizards since they make way less money than before because of Universes Beyond restricting them selling their art. Universes Beyond, is that the developer now, the publisher, Kebby? If you want to learn lore for Magic the Gathering, there's a dedicated channel on YouTube for it. Okay, nice. Oh, there you go. There you go. If you want to find out the lore, for those of you who are curious about it, like I said, if you came to, I'm sure. Well, I'm guessing a lot of you aren't necessarily looking at Magic as a lore, necessarily because of lore, but it helps flesh it out. Yeah, and Goblin Skulk on turn 1 or 2 before the nerf was notorious as well. Oh wait, hang on a second. I think when you control no permanents other than the cheese, which permanents, by the way, for those you don't know, permanents are things like creatures and enchantments and artifacts. In fact, those are the 3 permanents, I believe. So he says, when you control no permanents other than the cheese stands alone and have no cards in hand, you win the game. Wow. See, now, and those kinds of things, like, but I mean, well, okay, no, I shouldn't say that. Like that is part and parcel of Magic. Like we chafe under, like, I guarantee you folks, if it doesn't exist already, there is probably something very similar to what we just saw it. I would say most tribal decks, unlike with Tessel, where tribal decks may be okay or not, but without training grounds, they're nothing. But even with training grounds, like like you saw with Ugnip's elf deck, and you would have seen it if I played the flying. Like if you get cards that have common, common things that are, tribal in that way or have common keywords like flying, they self-buff, and you can get your cards can grow very large very, very quickly in a way that is almost akin to something like invade. Now, obviously, you're not getting keywords, but that doesn't mean much if you've got your little 1-2 and 3-3 and 2-3 that you would expect to play on turns 1, 2, and 3, or 3, 4, and 5, or whatever, 2, 3, 4, and your opponent's got 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6, 6. Like, that's it. That's it. What do you mean Ice Storm turn 6 for Telvanni? Well, and that's another thing. Like, so, I mean, you have, as I said, Dawn's Wrath on turn 4. But I have a lot of cards that would do 2 or 3 damage. But by the time I can afford to play them, or by the time they're relevant, my opponent's, he's got 3 bodies that are big enough to absorb that damage. It doesn't really help. But it's just, you just got to get used to it. There is, like, Magic is about creating that dominating deck that ideally can win you the game. And now, obviously, and Kebble, you can talk about this as well, I'm sure. But like, you go so far, and your likelihood of drawing those Magic cards are less. Even though you can do 4 of, you still have a lot of cards to get through to find those. The more specific your combo is. But I've seen so many decks go off by turn 5. To a point where, without a board clear, you're done. I want to make a CCG where everyone just gets access to every card each year. You can even print them yourself if you want. Buying early lets you play online. Or buying in yearly lets you play online. That'd be nice. That would be nice. If you want to learn... Oh, there's lore. He fought Jake Paul. There you go. Logan's little brother. They did pay him $20 million for the fight. So for that money, even he'll grow a glass jaw. Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't even think, like, from what I understand, I didn't watch. I didn't even know what was going on until I saw the memes afterward. Like, I saw like a little gif of like kittens doing this, like kind of like little baby kittens with the big eyes, big head. They're just kind of doing the thing, and they're like, this is pretty much what the fight was. Like, it wasn't even just get in the ring and try to make it work. It was like, okay, yeah, nobody wants to hurt anybody here, guys. Let's just, it's the spectacle. Mike Tyson back in the ring, and this whoever guy, Jake Paul's little brother. I don't even know how you know about that stuff, Baldrick. Who, Jake Paul? I mean, I've heard the name, but goodness gracious. Yeah, I watched that fight illegally, Baldrick, and it still felt like I was ripped off. Universe Beyond or Magic the Gathering version of franchise. Wait, Universe Beyond or Magic the Gathering version of franchise is not connected with Magic the Gathering universe. Universes Beyond are sets like... Okay, gotcha. Okay, so... Wow. That is pretty rough. Well, and that's, Kebby, that's what one of the gentleman that was talking about these changes, which, by the way, he was a very... I can't remember the name of it's Universe of something. Universe it's a Magic thing, I guess. But he said, he's like, I am not... Like, I don't hate on anybody for loving those cards. If it brings you to the game, you're welcome. I'm happy to sit down and play with you. It's not that at all. He said, but I'm also not going to lie and say I'm not disappointed that that we're not really growing. That he said, I think the way he put it, Magic is become an IP in its own franchise. Like, it's considered to just be one of many expansions or one of many Universes Beyond property type things, versus it being, this is Magic, and then we'll have the secret layer deck things here and there, little things as kind of fun tie-ins or gimmicky things or whatever, but you're not part of the main game. Whereas now it's like Magic the Gathering, those kinds of cards, your Jaces and your Chandras and your whoever's, your Planeswalkers have become just one other way to go versus being, this is what you want to focus on. Mike Tyson's Mysteries was great, is essentially a vehicle for Norm Macdonald. Rip. I've never heard of Mike Tyson's Mysteries. That is very bizarre. Was it a cartoon? I mean, he said vehicle for Norm Macdonald, but... Oh, that show. Of course, Baldrick knows that show. I've never heard of it, but of course, Baldrick knows it. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious me. Magic the Gathering should make an Invade expansion. I'm guessing they do. Kebby, are you aware of any mechanic in Magic that assigns, that does the snowballing where it's like if you have creatures of this particular type, +1/+1, but also snowballs keywords permanently. Is there such a card or a mechanic in the game that you know of? Leyline? Wait, Leyline is banned? Oh no, is that the card that I was going to rely on to not allow healing? No, that's not what I was thinking of. Opening hand, you may begin the game with it. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, that does look crazy. That looks absolutely crazy. This is what he's talking about right here. If Leyline of Resonance is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. Oh, okay, now here's a question for you, Joseph, or Kebby, or anybody else. Okay, so here's my question for this, because it doesn't specify as far as I can tell. It says it copies... You can copy that spell. Does that mean, though... Does that mean you get a copy of it in your hand, and then you have to have the mana to play, or the lands to play it? Or does it copy it, and it's an autoplay, and you're just selecting new copies for it? Like, what... Like, I wouldn't know until I played it to find out. So it's an enchantment. So that, again, that's going to be like a little support. It's going to sit on the board unless it gets removed. And so you cast, was it Thunderbolt or Light Thunderbolt, I think maybe is one of them. Does 2 damage against one creature. Oh, wait. Only targets a single creature you control. Okay, never mind. I mean, it's still a question. Do you get to apply that to several creatures? Now, granted, it's been banned, I guess, but so it's not really relevant. But still, like, this is probably fine in its era set. You think so? Disgustingly broken. Normally, artists from Magic the Gathering can make merchandise with their art, like sleeves, paint, playmats, and okay. Since Universes Beyond, they can't do that anymore to make extra money from their 1K per artwork price. No kidding. Oh, that's... Wow. Wow, that sucks. And I mean, 1,000 sounds like a lot, but like a lot of this artwork, I mean, I can't speak to like Marvel stuff or whatever, or the Universes Beyond, but some of that art is really freaking good. Like it's not just it's not like it's like Legends, like Elder Scrolls Legends. I wonder how much those artists made per piece. But yeah, I mean, that's which is weird, because people a lot of times, and I'm not saying I'm necessarily for or against this, although I leaned against it. Well, can I do that and lean against this? Well, like, for example, people are always like, oh, these poor actors, they don't get, they're not going to get, they only made $7 million for this movie, but yet the studio made $300 million. It's like, well, yeah, the $300 million also footed the bill and gave the people their job, gave the actor their job. And they're like, oh, but their royalties are not going to make money every time it's shown somewhere because it has them in it. And I'm like, nobody gets, like, I mean, there are obviously people that do get it, but it's like, you also don't make that movie without grip and electrical crew. You don't get there without your gaffers. You don't get there without the people making your props and everything. They're not seeing a percentage of it. This isn't like a, giving trade. And you can't, especially these days, you can't say, oh, this movie made money because of that actor, because most of the time at this point, actors have very little currency or very little clout. But it's an interesting quandary. Okay, if you do 2 pieces of art a day, a piece of art every 2 days, in theory, that's $4,000 a week, maybe, if you only do it certain, $3 or $4,000 a week. It's not a bad living. It's not great. It's not bad. But the people that are paying you to do that, are they obliged to pay more? Again, I'm not saying one way or the other, because I think it does get a little complicated. It's like, okay, how much is enough? And yeah, but here's the thing. I guess I would say, as a counter to that, it's not like Universes Beyond let's call them Universe or Uni. It's not like Uni has to pay extra money, right? They would just have to allow them to say, hey, I made this great artwork that people like. You can use it for your thing, and I'm going to use it for mine. Like, you don't own my art all outright. Like, you can use it for your stuff, and nobody else can, but I can sell it and make money off of it. It's kind of I feel like that's a dick move to say, no, you can't make money off of it. We don't have to pay you. We're not paying you to make money on it. But if you want to go out and sell that as your art, we're not going to let you do that. I do think that's outright wrong. It's one thing if it's going to cost the company money to do that, and you go, okay, you factor other things in there. But just to say, we own your work and you can't do anything else with it, I think, especially if it's not going to be used, counter to its intended purpose. I don't know. Off the top of my head, that's the copy's already in play. You just have to choose a target. Wow, Baldrick. Okay, so you play a spell, and you get to play it again for no extra cost. That does seem broken. If that is the case, that seems broken as heck. An important fact of Leyline is if you play it from your opening hand, it can't be countered. Oh. Which, I mean, to be fair, Underhill, that's exactly like the Goblin we have in Tessel. The 3/2 for 2 that comes off as a 1 if you have it in your opening hand. I mean, not too many people had a problem with that. I'm kidding, of course. That's not even close. But yeah, yeah. It can't be used in Explorer mode, by the way. Okay. No, it copies onto the stack. Okay. Which I understand that the stack is okay, you cast a spell, I counter it, then you counter my counter. Then so it's and all those get resolved in reverse order, right? So the last thing that was played gets priority. And so more than likely whatever you played first isn't going to get any love because everything counters itself, and they resolve in reverse order. I think that's the way it was phrased, the videos that I've watched, but at the same time I don't necessarily completely understand how that all works. And that's why I think Arena is a great, because it's going to auto, like you can say you click resolve, but it's going to do it for you. It kind of helps keep the more complicated stacks from getting out of control. No, you play it for free when combined with prowess and buff spells. It was like killing people on turn 2 or 3. Wow. Since it starts in play, it is never cast. Oh, I get it. It takes 2 weeks for... Oh, wow. Which, I mean, Kebby, to be fair, when you look at the artwork, that's what you look at. I was being optimistic in that... I am Optimus Prime. I was being optimistic and thinking, okay, maybe these artists can just go gangbusters and they can crank out stuff every couple days. But yeah, looking at it, I would expect it to take a week. So yeah, $1,000 a week, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. But yeah, for the rest of your life, you might have to hear about being in it or seen as that character. Yeah, I'll take that. Honestly, like I couldn't care less if, but Underhill, that's not a guarantee. Like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, all top 3 billing actors of the trilogy. Harrison Ford, much different career than both of them. So it's a thing, but it's not a guaranteed deal. It's not like, oh, well, you're guaranteed to not get any more work as an actor or be typecasted as this role. And to the point, I don't think any of those 3 actors get residuals for it. I think, the company did, Lucas did, but I don't think any of those actors got residuals for it. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure none of them signed. They got their paycheck, and they probably got a bigger paycheck on the second and third ones than the first one. But I don't think they... let's see. Acting is not like putting a wheel on a car. Nobody knows you for car wheels. Yeah, I don't believe in a popularity tax. I think that's part of the job. For a mechanic, for putting wheels on cars, you got broken fingers. You've got, sore, back issues. You've got all kinds of work hazards you have to deal with on any given basis. Like every job has its downside, and the fact that you're famous, which I get it. I don't want to be famous personally. I think it's a construct. It's a hollow thing. It doesn't. Having people know who you are and you not know who they are is not a great thing. I don't see fame as a good thing. I mean, there are people that will superficially like grant you certain things because you're famous, and I think that's crap, personally. But aside from those fringe perks, it's not a great thing. But I don't think anybody's said actors deserve that because they're going to be famous and it's a rough go of it. Most of it is, it's my face and my whatever, and I granted my work to this project, and therefore it should be. When it comes to, I get it for certain things, but like in terms of, okay, you can halfway through a production, you can lose your grip, you can lose like some of your production team, and you can replace them and it still goes on. You lose your main actor, you have to reshoot everything that actor was in. Still not impossible, depending on how far you are in and what kind of stuff you're working with, but definitely harder. So I understand like when you're shooting, I understand making sure you're protecting your actors and making sure they're okay, but the preferential treatment, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then after the fact, it's like you're valuable because you're harder to replace, but acting is not that hard. Like there are people that can't do it, but yeah, it's, and there was a time where you could say this movie will make $20 million at least. There's $20 million of revenue here just because that actor is in this movie. But thanks to social media, actors are becoming more of a liability than they are star power. There's more people going, I'm not going to see it because that person is such a jerk face, than there are people going, oh, I'm going to go see it just because this actor is in it. So I think that, let's see. Some artists took 3 to 4 weeks to make some art. Super sad to see. Yeah, KB, that is rough. That is, yeah, because it's, yeah, that is the bummer, as somebody who is, what if you're looking to buy art, when you go into go to these shops and they have, like I remember Colorado, you go to, what was it, Estes Park or something? They had a few shops in there where they had these magnificent pieces of art. They're like $3,500, and you're going, that's a lot of money for me. And you go, but that's 4 weeks of work for that person. Like, yeah, it's upcharged a little bit probably to cover the fact that they're not going to sell all their pieces, but it's hard. It is hard, even if you have guaranteed buyers for your work, unless you can sell it at a considerable markup. You look at that piece and go, yeah, it's I would pay that in a heartbeat. I just can't afford it. They go, well, yeah, but they can't afford to sell it for less because it took them an entire month to do it. If they take less, they're making, minimum wage essentially, which is very difficult to justify. And all this begs the question: without actors and artists, where is the capitalist left? But I guess that's the thing. That's the problem, Underhill. The difference is kind of what we're seeing with these artists. There will always be artists and athletes who are willing to play based on, like, you can't have, like, if a bunch of athletes got together and said, we're going to have a basketball game here on this particular court. Now, with social media these days, maybe, but like, okay, but here's the catch. Not just we're going to play, not just we're going to record it. We have to be able to make money off it. We got to make our millions of dollars off of it. It is harder for an artist or an athlete to create a system, to create a venue, and not only one that actually functions in a way that they can play and that people can watch and that everybody's taken care of, the concessions and everything, but that actually converts itself to money. It is harder to create a system than it is to find players and artists, especially like actors. It's more subjective. Athletes, it's not quite as subjective. Like, either you're good or you're not good. Like, you can look at it and go, oh, I think he's a great player. Well, yeah, but he's got no defense. Or, yeah, he's well-rounded, but, he's just kind of a role player. With acting, you've got people that'll look at one performance and go, oh my gosh, it brought tears to my eye. Another person going, oh, it brought tears to my eyes. Like, acting is much more subjective. There is a certain level of quality, but there are people that go, oh, well, I love these actors, but this particular actor, he's just the same in every movie. And I go, half the people you just listed are the exact same in every single movie. They're not really being stretched here. It's very perceptive. Whereas basketball, football, soccer, the results are on the field. The results are on the court. And so I think it's harder to, but even they have scabs. Even they we go, you know what? We can replace you. There are so many people, the amount of positions there are in these industries are so few that, I mean, they're coveted. So you could say, you know what? I'm not going to play this game unless you pay me more. And they go, bye-bye. You're not worth it. And some of them will. That's what capitalism is. It's going, okay, you know what? You want to make an extra $20 million a year? I'll pay you that because I know you're going to sell jerseys, you're going to sell merch, you're going to sell tickets. So I'm going to make $100 million, paying you an extra 20. I'm still making out okay. But when it gets to the point where that's not the case, they go bye-bye and they get replaced by somebody. And most of the fans aren't going to be like, oh, the game is drastically reduced in quality. Or, oh, hey, this actor is not as amazing as this one. There's plenty of actors we see their first role, they're amazing. And then you find out they've been working at it for 30 years, couldn't get a damn role in any movie. There's no way you can tell me that an actor is that specialized of a profession. There's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people trying to act. And probably at least half of them that are actually good enough, that are on par with the actors we see. Just because you're in Hollywood, just because you're on screen or on stage, doesn't mean you're the best. You've got casting bias. You've got directors who are looking for a certain thing. You've got people that get missed for a role because they don't fit the costume. They said, look, we made this costume. It looks amazing. We spent a lot of money on it. We need an actor who are these dimensions. We'll find an actor. You've got people going, hey, our lead gal is 5'11". We want the guy to be a little bit taller, so we're not going to hire a guy who's under 6'4", or because we don't want to fly in apple boxes for every single scene and bump him up. So I think it's the capitalists or the people that own it. They have the money and the ability and the system in place that is much harder to replace than actors or even athletes. Let's see. To be fair, did you see Dwayne Wade's statue? Someone paid an arse for that. Spoiler alert. It looks like crap. I understand that. Wizards are paying for the license to make the set, so it makes sense. Wait, what? Wizards are paying for the license to make the set. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, at that point though, one, why? And two, like, it's not like was Wizards struggling before this came along? Before they started throwing SpongeBob and Marvel into this? Was Magic the Gathering struggling to create revenue? Was it struggling to have interest? Because you can argue two sides. You go, okay, we're getting the license so that we can put it in our game, but you're getting free advertising. And I think that's something that I'm sure it is factored in. Anytime you have, but like Coke. They're saying your movie's popular. We want product placement. We're paying you because it benefits us as a company to have that advertising, to see this actor or this character holding a can of our product, because people are going to be watching this. This is advertising. We're paying to advertise. And then there's people like me, like up and coming filmmakers that go, hey, well, not people like me, because I would never pay to put Coke in there just because I don't have the budget for that. But going, hey, it's going to add credibility to our scene to have this brand be actually able to be displayed. So you either have to get permission or you have to pay them some kind of money. With something like this, with Magic the Gathering and like Marvel, I mean, at this point I would say Magic the Gathering is a much stronger brand than Marvel, to be honest. But like both of them are benefiting from it. So like, why? I mean, it's like, okay, we'll pay you for the license, but there should be, I think you have wiggle room to say, yeah, but the artist can then make, like, I think you should be able to do that in a situation where both parties are getting something from it. But what I don't understand is why Magic would feel compelled to fork out money for licensing when it's doing just fine, as best as I could tell. I'm just joking, everyone, so don't get mad at me, but that statue does look like crap. I haven't seen it, Joseph. I will take a look, but there are plenty of, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if it's modern art. Yeah, each response goes on a stack. What's on top resolved first. Hey, Macaro, hello. Sorry, I know you're not much of a card guy. We're just talking about cards and, well, everything at this point. But welcome. Mark Hamill is a good example of how your image being used can result in the end of your career. He went voice, but he couldn't act again. But again, Harrison Ford. There are Matt Damon was the face of the Bourne series, and he's gotten work after that. So I think a lot of it comes down to, honestly, I don't know how talented Mark Hamill is, to be honest. I think that has something to do with it. I think some of it has to do with how good you are at distancing yourself from the role. Like I think Mark needed to get he needed to land a movie that was going to create another character, maybe that didn't have to be as enduring or as focused as a Luke Skywalker. But like Harrison Ford, he did Indiana Jones right after that. Or pretty much at the same time. Like he jumped. I was like, okay, well now you can't typecast him as Han Solo because he's Indiana Jones as well. So you create a little more diversity. But even he didn't go too far. But I mean, there's plenty of actors that get shoehorned for any number of reasons. But I think that more had to do with, I mean, you got to factor in personality. How easy is somebody to work with? What are their demands? Because I'm not saying for sure, but Mark Hamill could have said, "Hey, I'm a big star now. Now he did Wing Commander and Guyver and a lot of other stuff, so I don't think that's the case at all. But I think you have to factor in personality, ease of work, how talented they actually are, how much a director has to work with them to get the right performance. And I can't vouch for any of that, to be honest, for any actors. But I think industry-wise, that's the thing. But you've got actors now that you don't even have to be typecast to not get work. You could just be a part of a movie. You could be a good actor in a crappy movie and never see work again. People have said, I can't vouch for this myself either, like Hayden Christensen, apparently good actor. After the prequels, couldn't get work. Haven't seen him in anything since. And that has nothing to do with, apparently, his ability to act. That's just, you were in movies that of arguable success and benevolence and that people liked, and it's still kind of crazy in terms of that. But I've been addicted to Hollow Knight lately. All the people who made it look like the best game of the century were right. I do have Shovel Knight macro, so I might try to whip that out next week or at some point. Some artists cut corners, which is why some artists got sued for stealing artwork and mixing them up to create new pieces because the amount they earn is so low. And Kebby, we see that. It's very obvious to a degree, I would say, in Legends. We've got stuff like Supreme Atromancer. If you look at the card art for that, it looks like human model with updates and modifications. They added a scar, they added some stuff, but it looks like a photorealistic, like human being. And they've got a lot of cards that are like that. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you just say, okay, I have to get another gig. I don't think you can say, well, I had to plagiarize somebody else's work or bastardize somebody else's work because I need to crank this out sooner. You go, okay, if I can't find a way to make it work without, like, there's probably shortcuts you could take. Like maybe you just create a generic male, female kind of characters. I've done that with some of my stuff. I mean, I do very low level art stuff, but I actually create, when I draw something, I usually do it from like the ground up. Like the outfit, everything that comes on later. I don't draw that as part of the person. So I'm guessing some of these artists could find shortcuts and things that we may go, not great, but it's their own work they're ripping off. So hey, here is generic male, basic. I can tweak this, especially like in digital, like in Photoshop or something. I can take that, I can remove some layers, I can add stubble, I can take away stubble, I can do a little bit of warp and make the jawline a little bit bigger. I can do, if you're an artist, you can do things that change the look, but you don't have to start from scratch every time. And maybe they already do that, but like that kind of thing, I'm like, okay, that's a shortcut that's okay because it's your own work. And as long as people aren't going, wait a minute, isn't that the exact same face that you used for this character? Then you're good to go. But how feasible that is, I don't know. But I do see that as being kind of you don't solve a problem by going that route. You go, hey, maybe to Underhill's point, you say, well, no artist is going to work for you until you change your policy. But there are so many good artists. I don't know how they can afford it. I don't know what they have to do to make it work. But if some artists can do it, they will. And maybe they live at home and they don't have any bills to pay. So that $1,000 they make in that week they keep it. And it sucks, but man, it's a complicated world out there, folks. Yes, but there are reasons that paradigms like my voice were established. These aren't just imagined constructs. They were hard fought for many years in courts. It doesn't justify them necessarily. I'm not disagreeing, Underhill, overtly, but just because they were fought for doesn't necessarily mean it's like you had the studio system back in the day, which was we own everything, you own nothing, and we own your voice, we own your likeness, everything that you ever do is ours. And yes, they fought against that, but I don't know that where we're at now is better. It's another extreme. It's the same thing with the unions in general. There are functions. Unions can kind of keep you on track. They can keep you from getting, overworked. But nowadays, a lot of them, they're absolutely horrible. They're horrible from a production standpoint. They're horrible, like in whatever field they're in. They go to the other extreme of it, and now it's like, now your workers have all the perks, and it's putting a strain on the companies, and companies are going out of business because like we're no longer making the profit needed to pay what you're needing us to pay for. So if we have to meet your demands, we go out of business. They go, TS, we want what we want. And you go, okay, well, there goes the business. So, when I went huge into the RC tournament in DC this year, many people wanted to meet and greet with me. It isn't for everyone, sure. Wait. When I went to the huge RC tournament, what's the RC tournament in DC this year? Many people wanted to meet and greet with me. Oh, are you talking about like the fame, Kevy? You're talking about like as a YouTube personality, when you went to the tournament, there were a lot of people that wanted to meet you. Are you an introvert by nature? Because that is a bizarre thing. There's a lot of, myself included, that can do a video like this and can talk to people, but when you get around people, it can be very overwhelming. But it sounds like you handled it fine. Like you're saying, it's not for everybody, but the only good thing about fame is that you can use it for money, whether that money goes directly to you or charity or a separate external project. Other than that, it's pure headache. Yeah, macro. I mean, everything has its pros and cons for sure. But a lot of it is how much you induce on yourself. Like you're like, I'm famous and people are writing these articles about me, or people are, they're writing these negative reviews. You subject yourself to that, and if you say, well, they're actually hurting my career. I mean, you're a public, if you take a position in a public realm, there are things that implicitly come with that, just as a virtue, as a natural thing. If people see your face more, they're going to know you more. People are going to be interested. If people are interested, people are going to write about you. They're going to want to talk about you because that's what gets people to, gets the attention. Nobody's going to write about somebody that nobody cares about, like somebody like me. But then if you become famous enough for that, then you're going to get good press and bad press, and that's kind of bundled all together. Look at the card, Storm the Seed Core. It took 4 weeks for the artist to make it. It's on Arena. Okay, let's take a look. Can I just type it here? Let's see. Storm the Seed Core. I guess I have to do this. Storm the Seed Core. Okay, maybe there's something wrong with my search function. No cards can be filtered. Oh, current filters. Here we go. Not collected. No. Oh, format alchemy. There we go. I don't know why it's on alchemy. Why is it on anything, actually? Reset. Storm the Seed Core. Well, criminally. See, I'm not even in a particular format, so it should be everything, right? Am I spelling it wrong? Huh. Storm Strike, Storm. Interesting. So yeah, so here we go, folks. Even I've been doing it for this long. I thought I had it down, but I don't even know how to search properly for a card. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. The only have to do, look at the, very nice picture though. Well, dang it, Ugnip, you can see it. What the heck am I doing wrong? I'm trying to think of what in, oh, there we go. Storm. Seed. Nope. Shoot. Not collected. Why is it still under format? How about... There we go. Okay. Apparently you have to pick a specific format. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, that's freaking... That's Sistine Chapel stuff right there. Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, that is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And then yet you have that, and then you have, I mean, even like I said, even Black Lotus looks pretty good. But I mean, it's something like that. Certainly not in the scope, but even that would take a heck of a long time, even digitally, I would imagine. I'm an artist and maker for a living. I gladly pay consignment fees because I don't own stores, but just because there are other makers doesn't make my product worth a tiny fraction of margin. I mean, yeah, they get 35% or less, not 99.998. Right, because they're just a venue at that point. They're not. They've got the brick and mortar store, but they're not. They didn't. In other words, they didn't commission you. They didn't give you the materials to do it. They didn't pay you to do it. They didn't have any interaction with it. They're essentially providing a venue for it. To me, that's different than a studio that is fronting all the. They're fronting all the risk. Like what risk are they taking other than if your art doesn't sell, there's a better place for it. A studio is putting up they're putting up $300 million to put this out there. If it flops, you get paid as an artist. You get an actor. Most actors don't have that clause in there that says, okay, I'm only going to take 50 grand to pay for my initial time, but then I get 2% on the back end. I can respect that, but they're not risking that artist, that actor is not risking a damn thing when they get their, $2 million check, $5 million check. They're getting that paid. That thing could go bust. They could lose their shirts over. They could lose $200 million on it. And a lot of them have lost a crap ton of money. Artists still got their money. So I think it's a little bit different there. Like one is a venue versus the other one is enabling them to do it. You don't need, especially now, you don't need that store necessarily to sell your art. You can sell it digitally. You can find other places that would, sell it for less. You could a restaurant, for crying out loud, hang my artwork up there and put a price tag. I've seen that around a lot. You have other venues that you could do that as. The actor is not paying jack diddly squat. They're not paying for the lights. They're not paying for the stuff. They're not paying the insurance. The insurance alone is ridiculous. So I think it's a very, very different comparison of artwork and selling it at a venue versus a studio and an actor and how much they make comparatively. But I don't think you should have added gaming sketches community or channel name. I appreciate that feedback, Macro. I may do away with it. I don't know. It does make it harder if I post something in the comments. If I comment anywhere, now it has a super long name. No, they weren't struggling. They just didn't wastely out earn previous years. We had an issue bringing in younger players into the game. Our average age per player was on the rise. I think the average age was in the mid-30s. Okay, so they're saying, okay, so then it was, I guess, to their interest to try to bring in younger IPs or younger stuff. I wonder though, Kebby, how that's going to play out. In terms of like, if today's kids aren't interested in a game like Magic, I don't know that just having card art is going to make it more. I mean, it may actually be very much worth their while, but I think it's probably too new to maybe to really gauge. But it just strikes me as a bit odd that like the fundamentals of the game, like I don't know too many people that would play it. It's like Storm of the Seed Core. If they just put Storm and Magneto on the card, is that going to want? Is somebody who would look at that and go, "Oh, that's too much text. I'm not big on card games." Are they going to look at Storm and Magneto and go, "Oh, well, now I'm interested because it's got characters that I recognize"? I'm not saying it's not. I am curious about the logic of that. Just how reasonable it is to think that bringing characters into this world will appeal to a younger demographic, who I would imagine because it's not as immediate. It's not as visceral maybe as just like what they see as like regular video games, I would say. Let's see. Magic the Gathering is essentially printing money. I don't know how they can be seen to be doing poorly. That's what I thought. That was my perception, Underhill. I thought they were doing very, very well. Had just been continuing to do well. Mark not being able to act again after Luke is well documented, and there were news articles. Okay, I was a Star Wars fan, not a Mark Hamill fan, so I know a good deal about Star Wars as a property, especially the original trilogy, but not so much about that. And acting is anything but easy. I mean, we'll have to agree to disagree on that, Underhill. I mean, you got. I mean, literally, I'm trying to think. I can't remember the actor. He's like, Alec Guinness, like Anthony Hopkins level. And they asked him like, how hard is acting? He's like, it's like falling off a log. I mean, so you have, and Anthony Hopkins, same thing. I mean, he said similar stuff to like, so I'm just going to say it's not something everybody can do by any stretch, but that goes for almost any job that's out there. Depending on, like, there's various levels of aptitude with it, just like anything else. And so you can have, I mean, in a lot of movies, it's not even acting per se. It's like run around, punch people, say a few lines here and there. I would say stage acting is much more demanding. It's a live performance. You're having to do it, and it's not as reliant on tricks. You can do 50 takes. You can do 50 takes to get the one take that actually looks right, where everything works out okay. You can't do that on stage. So I would be more generous or more lenient with stage acting than I would film, because almost anybody, if you got a good director and you've got the time, you can coax a performance out of most people. There are probably, I would say 20%, 25% of the people cannot act. Like, they just look awkward. They are awkward. Most people, I mean, Eddie Furlow, for crying out loud, they pulled him off the street. Now, again, not everybody can do it. And I'm not saying he's a gangbuster actor. He was good enough for Terminator 2. He was good enough that had he not gone off on drugs and whatnot, he would have been, how prolific his career would have been. But I mean, I know it's not easy. I've done it. It's not easy per se. It's not like, it's just like, oh, nothing, but I've worked a lot harder jobs. And yeah, I haven't seen, I see plenty of no talent people getting work. I look at it and go, he's okay. He's serviceable. That didn't blow my mind. And actually, to your point, and I guess to my point as well, soap opera is more like theater. It's live, so it's a little bit more, but it's a different style. It's very over the top. It's very theatrical. It's Hollow Knight, not Shovel Knight. Oh, okay, those are two different things. Sorry. No, it's derived from philosophy and logic. You don't own your appearance and voice. Then on what basis does anyone own anything? Which is a vast oversimplification, but that's the idea. I mean, but that's the thing. You sell it. I mean, I don't think it's, to me, that's like double dipping. That's going, okay, you own your face and your voice. But once I pay $5 million to have your voice and likeness, which is worthless without it. I mean, my voice and likeness are not worth anything right now. You have to have something to give that value, it's not inherent valuable. Somebody's voice and face, it's not inherently valuable. It belongs to them, but it's not inherently valuable. If somebody says, I'm paying $5 million to have your voice and likeness, well, then as long as it's within the context of that show or movie or whatever, that's what they paid for. It's a product. And the brand is a big thing. People talk about the brand. You're paying for the brand. You're paying for the image. So, I mean, I don't know. We get in the weeds with it, but yes, I went to the regional championship for Pioneer. I didn't mind it meeting everyone. Nice. Okay, there you go. I'm anxious meeting people both internet and in real life. I've met probably a dozen people from that I met online and then converted into real life. Haven't had a bad experience yet. Just look, Storm. Oh, gotcha. So yeah, showing my inexperience and the risk they take is on the lease on the square footage. The actor is risking their entire career every time they're in a movie, or again, it's some actors have bombs and they continue to act. We've had a lot of stinkers here. People are still getting work. They can actually have horrible social media presence and they can still get work. And some of them can, it just falls apart. I think it has a lot more to do with what people, which actors are chosen to be pushed, which ones aren't. There's probably a stigma there. I just think there's a lot more than just the purity of, if you're a good actor and you're in a good movie, you do well. Or you're a decent actor in a decent movie, you do well. You get more opportunities a lot of times because they think you're hot. Hey, you're a hot thing. You're a hot commodity right now. We want to put you in as many things as possible. Doesn't mean it's going to work out for you, and doesn't mean it's not going to work out for you. But are you even planning to do sketches in the future? Yeah, macro, sure. To the point where they become reasonable in terms of like the effort that goes into sketches is like exponentially more so than what goes into doing live things, or even some of the other videos that I've done. And the result from it, the upside to it is pretty low. If that ever kind of starts to even out, then I might consider it, but it's what's on the channel currently. So I'm basically in the toy business, and what kids really do not like right now are anything they are sold hard, and 2, anything that costs money regularly, which watch the making of Lord of the Rings and tell me that was easy. I mean, I don't know. They don't have a video on lumberyard workers. That's not easy either. That's incredibly difficult. I've done overnight shoots for I mean, not big projects. It was Discovery Channel stuff, but I've had to sit there for 24 hours, been on call, and had to work in flood conditions. They literally artificially blow wind at you, and you're sitting there and you're freezing your ass off, and you're working your butt off, and you're on call there pretty much 24 hours. You're getting a good payday, but you're working your butt off. Working a lumberyard, exponentially harder. Like, for me personally, I didn't say it was easy. I'm saying it's not harder than other people that make a fraction of that money. It's not harder than that. It's got its own difficulties because, you can show up and, for the lumberyard yard, and I could wear whatever I wanted to. I could be scruffy. I could, wear what I wanted to, do what I needed to do. I had to interact with customers. I still had to be nice and still have enough energy to interact with people and provide good customer service. But a lot of the grunt work I had to do was outside of the camera or outside of what people were seeing. Actors, yes, they have to be able to turn it on, emotional depth or resonance or what have you, depending on the day. Sometimes you're doing 2 pages, 1 page out of a scene, and there's not even any dialogue. It's just it's run and you're doing this, and it's repetitive. I remember I had to roll down a hill and land with my face like that far from a grenade. I had to do it like 17 times because I couldn't roll perfectly, as you might expect, and land exactly where they had the camera position. But that's the angle they wanted. So that's what I had to do. And I rolled down 17 times. It's repetitive. It's tiring. Most jobs have that element to them. They have a downside to them. I do not think acting is that much. It's worth what it is because like people are willing to pay for it. And because people have that idea or had that idea for a while anyway, that it's worth that amount. But in terms of like, it's not, it's artistry. It's very difficult in just as much as many other jobs are difficult. I mean, there's some jobs that are pretty simple, but they're still grunt work. Without arguing one way or the other on the AI art discussion, I think it's an interesting lens to see how value is determined. And I think Austrian School of Economics were right. I'm not familiar with that perspective, Jonas. What is the Austrian School of Economics? Magic Lakes the iconic figures to bring you in young players. Oh, Magic takes the iconic figures to bring in young players. People recognize Pokemon, so everybody connects with that card game. Magic takes the iconic figures to bring in young players. People recognize, so everyone connects with that. Well, but Pokemon started as a trading card game, didn't it? Like before the video game, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was a video game first. Right. It was the Game Boy game first, and then it became so they recognized. But isn't the video game similar to the card game? And I guess my big thing, and kind of what Underhill was saying, like what are you saying? Anything that they are sold hard, and anything that costs money regularly. So I mean that wouldn't be Magic necessarily, because you don't have to pay money regularly for that, right? So Magic would be viable, but I'm just wondering. I mean, kids used to run out, go play outside all the time too, and they don't do that anymore. So I'm just wondering how much the younger market has changed fundamentally. Do they still want to sit down and play cards? Do they even show up in person for those kinds of things? I'm guessing they do. I mean, you see people show up to but that's the thing. I see a lot more interest from younger kids in StarCraft type stuff and video game tournaments, esports with, like videos like Magic the Gathering Arena. I imagine would be more popular, more so than like the actual sit down and play game is my thought, but I just don't know. Perhaps it would. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that demographic switches up and if they stick with it, or they go, oh, that's really cool, novelty, and then go away, or if it's enough to draw them in further into the game. It's kind of like lure them in. The Austrian take is that value is subjective and not determined by neither work nor cost of production. Your skis may be top of the line and take forever to make, but you won't sell them in a desert. Very true, yep. I'd probably also agree with the plight of lumber workers being underpaid. Sympathize with. I feel really bad because I don't do deep conversations like the people in here. Macker, we've had some good conversations. We've had some good ones. And these aren't necessarily deep. They involve, they're complex factors, really. Complex factors? Yeah. Which is very hard to pull off anyway. All genuine creativity stems from the soul. If you want to capitalize that, you have to bring the soul with you, or you end up with modern Hollywood. Now that I can agree with, Underhill. That 100% I can agree with. I can 100% agree with that. 100%. Yes. Solid. Absolutely. And I was going to add something to that, but doesn't need anything else. That is absolutely right. Oh, lacks. Okay, there you go. Let me read that again with the Magic lacks the iconic figures. Okay, there you go. People recognize, but okay, there you go. That transforms everything. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, there is something you said. What was it? They said Master of the Universe when it first came out in, I think it was 82 or 83, the first line. It got attention. It did well, but it wasn't until the cartoon released the next year that the sales took off. So it really is, I think they call it the trifecta, where it's like you have to have, like, you want to be in 3 different mediums. It's like, okay, you've got the game, you need a cartoon, or you need a comic book, and you need figures or something, which Magic kind of has that. It's got like the Pokemon appeal, where it's to a degree where I think it's got the physical element of it, the collectible element of it, and it's got the functional element, which, for somebody who collected football cards, the bummer with that is all you can do is look at them. You really can't do anything. I wanted to try to convert them somehow, figure out a way to make them into like a Magic thing, like just so that they weren't doing nothing. But that's the downside to collecting those kinds of cards, is they're there for you to go, ooh, cool, I own this thing. But that's it. Whereas Magic, it's a collection that is functional, which I think is fantastic. And I wish I'd come around to this earlier when I was a kid. I didn't even know Magic existed until sophomore year, 1996. So I was 3 years behind the curve. I don't sell 3D printed models and toys by blasting ads everywhere. I sell them by sitting at a table and happily playing with them. Blasting ads everywhere. I sell them by sitting at a table. Wait, is that on your channel, Underhill? Do you have a like a toy channel that you do your stuff on? Let me see. Sorry, I'll bring it down once. Well, that's probably not you there with the. To be fair, it's probably going to bring up a bunch of other. Oh, is it at Underhill maybe? But I mean, yeah, I mean that's if you can show what the toys do, what the product does, like that's infinitely better. Especially if you can add lore to it or add dynamics to it. You don't really have to. I don't sell and maybe Magic still has that advantage. Yeah, exactly. And then that's the thing. It sells itself. It's because there is the collector. And I think, well, you'll never have first printing. Like I know they've reprinted cards, but they typically change the art, right? So you still have cards that are valuable because they came out when they did. They're the first pressing, the alpha release or whatever it is. So even if they do create other cards so that people can use, like Storm the Seed Core, maybe, oh no, well, whatever, it's fine. Like maybe that first pressing, maybe that card sells for $100 now. They could do a re-release of it, probably with different art, I'm guessing, or maybe the same art, but it wouldn't be that. So in other words, you still have cards that can accrue value. So there is that collecting, but even then, kids, we never thought about, I mean, yeah, I had the Beckett, we'd look at it and be like, oh, this card's worth $1.25. But that was to kind of facilitate even trades more so than it was like, I'm going to bake my future retirement on this card, you know? So I think but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, but I guess it does. So I wonder, Kebby, I don't know if you play other CCGs or TCGs, but like, I'm wondering, like, the Pokemon, like, cards, do those Macro? All right, Macro, good to see you, man. Again, I'm sorry the conversation wasn't, was of cards, which isn't your jam, but it's a fascinating discussion. It's a fascinating world to have stepped in here. So I'm wondering if, like, traditional card games, or traditional card games, like, if Pokemon is having the same issue, are their demographic primarily 30-year-olds? Or has it been able to translate into a younger demographic because of the nature of the art, the cartoon? Like, Magic never really it might have had a show or a movie or something, or they were talking about it. I'm glad they didn't, because it was going to be modern day, which, to your point, Underhill, modern Hollywood, I won't go down that road. But I do wonder, in other words, I wonder if instead of paying licenses for Marvel and for all these other, like, properties, if it wouldn't be better to put that money into a TV series, even if it's something that's only going to air, like, on Netflix or something. Like, invest the money in something that is going to promote the characters or promote the story, or make, add something to it. I mean, the cartoon had almost nothing to do with the action figures aside from that they were there, but just having that there enabled people to go, "Ooh, I really like that." Pokemon has a show, video game, and has a card game. Magic doesn't have that influence. Right, yeah. Yep. Gotta go. My cousin want to shoot things in COD. All right, Jonas. Good to see you. Actually, oh, shoot. Well, yeah, we might have to transit. Today I own only one card, a beta channel. A what now? Wait, you talking about Magic the Gathering, Underhill? There's a card called a beta channel? And it looks like it's one of the ones from the original. Oh, beta chat. Oh, okay, there you go. Yep, because I see it right here. So, same art, I'm guessing. Channel Alpha edition. But you said yours is beta, but that's what I'm saying. So what is? Can you see a difference? Because I actually looked up. Yeah, Underhill, look at you, man. Well, and that's moderately played. So if you kept yours in pristine condition, it's probably worth a crap ton more than that. And if you get it graded, which I don't know, some people say that's a racket or whatever, but it is. The most recent sale was $125. Listed median is $330. I mean, I think that's what Jonas was saying. Like, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, I guess. But yeah, it looks like the lowest listing is almost $200. Mine is moderately played. I think that's what it stands for, moderately played. Okay, so yeah, you're right in that ballpark, man. A couple $100. But I mean, this looks like, was this one of the first years? It was like 93, 94? Where is it? Oh, Nut Bunnies. Okay, that's all about it doesn't tell you about the actual, which is weird. You'd think. Oh, wait. Yeah, I was going to say, I just thought of that. Yeah, that's alpha versus beta. So channel beta. Okay. Sorry, Underhill. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that either. It took me a second. I apologize. Having had cards at different points, like Barry Sanders, somebody said Barry Sanders rookie card is worth $150. I'm like, what? I've got like 5 of them. And then I looked and it was the score version of Barry Sanders, which is, to me, the less, like, I think I think Pro set looks a lot better. It's got an actual action shot of him running, but score is just the portrait. But that's worth $150. My version is worth $3, I think. I mean, $40 isn't bad. It isn't bad, but yeah. I just keep it because I like the art so much. What is that of, anyway? Okay. It's like a wizard. Is he crawling? What does this do? Until the end of the turn, you may add colorless mana. Okay. I was just trying to see what the correlation of the imagery was to it. I guess the fact that you lose life by getting the magicka kind of is encapsulated there. Like, he looks like he's in a bad way. I'll put it that way. He is not doing well. And he's not happy. Channel plus Fireball, the oldest cheese combo. Really? Wait, so... Well, I mean, that's just... It looks like it's saying you add mana at the cost of your life. So you could... If you're willing to take 5 damage to yourself, you could get 5 mana in any color? Or a colorless mana. Okay, so... That doesn't necessarily... So wait... I probably don't know what Fireball is. I don't know enough about... When I went to my local GOM store to play Magic, there were plenty of young players playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon in tournaments. Okay, so there is... Man, that is tragic. That is really tragic. The fact... I mean, Magic the Gathering started it. I'm pretty sure it did, right? I mean, I know Pokemon came after. I know Yu-Gi-Oh! All those, the ones that we know of, came after. There might have been something similar somewhere out there. But and it's not like they dropped the ball either. You know, it's not like they stopped it innovating or they stopped doing whatever. Like, I think they've done, maybe in recent years, not so much. I don't know. I've heard different things just about Wizard and Hasbro and all that kind of stuff. But like, you know, sometimes you hear about like the innovator is not necessarily the progenitor. The innovator is not necessarily the person who, like, it's like they had the great idea, but they didn't know how to market it right. And so somebody else said, okay, I'm going to take the premise. I'm going to take what you did. I'm going to build on it, make it mine, and then I'm going to sell it because I'm good at marketing. But like, I don't think Magic suffered from that. I think Magic was, they had a great idea, they had a great concept, and they ran with it, and they made it bigger and bigger, and it's still big now. It just seems a little tragic. Why? Again, other than what you're saying, Kebby, is the influence of cartoons and video games. Okay, here we go. Okay, I tap 4. I turn 4, I tap 4 forests, cast Channel, okay, which leaves you with 2 forests, and put 2 mana and 19 life into Channel, and I win. Oh, is Channel Channel's a do X number? Is it one of those ones with an X on it? Like the number X becomes the amount of mana that you play into it? So I didn't know. I'm confusing Fireball, I think, with the whatever that red card is. It's Channel. They had Channeled Storm or Channeled Bolt or something. 3 forests and a mountain, I mean. Okay. And with a Lotus, you can do it on turn 1. Yeah, that was... It was a little interesting to me how fast... Okay, yep. 1RX. What does the R stand for? 1... So I'm catching on. So the X is the mana most of the times you put in. Oh, 1 red plus X. Okay. Wow. Are any of those... Is Channel banned? Is Fireball banned? Or are they on... when I say banned, I should say, are they only on like the Legacy and Vintage? I think the Channel was banned long ago. Okay. I mean, and that's... I don't know today. And I wonder... Channel is banned most formats. Okay, fair enough. Well, and that begs the question as well. What does Pokemon... Do Pokemon and... What was the other one you listed, Kebby? Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. 1, do they have banned lists? And 2... Do they have the multiple formats? Because I will say the one thing about Magic, I'm still like, I still look favorably on it. I'm still interested, but it's not only daunting, but a little discouraging when you find, okay, I can have a card that tomorrow could go on a banned list. And, you know, especially if I paid money for it, or I sacrificed one of my wild cards for it, or I paid money for it as a hard copy, I might not even be able to play with it tomorrow. Like, it can go on a banned list at a moment's notice. And now I know it's not whimsical. It's not just like, oh, or random. It's not like, oh, we've decided this is on the ban list. It's for a reason, but yet you could get into it and just have a card no longer be, or it's only allowed in these formats. And I think Foundations, they said, is 5 years from now. Like, Foundations cards will be viable, playable in Standard for the next 5 years. But up until this point, my understanding, it's only been 2 or 3 years per cycle. So I wonder if that has an impact on it. Because, you know, with Legends, if I watched a video of somebody like playing Legends, I could look and go, oh, I really like, Tazcad. That's an awesome card. You know, it has Drain and Charge, or Haste and Trample, and it puts out a 4/4 body when it's destroyed. That's awesome. I want that card. I can go into the game. I can, you know, come up with my resources and I can buy it, and I don't have to worry about it not being. It might get nerfed. There's a possibility of that if it's relatively new, it could still get nerfed. But I don't have to worry about that card no longer being played, or whether it's banned or not. In 2 years, I'm going, okay, we're going to cycle through these now, and now that Tazcad is no longer part of the playable format. So I wonder if that has put a wet blanket on it a little bit. I'm not saying it's not necessary. I'm just wondering if that's a factor. Channel is only allowed in 2 formats, Vintage and Timeless. It is restricted to 1. Okay, so 1 of versus 4. I have a memory in my head of winning the dice roll, going first, and just setting a Lotus, Channel, and Fireball on the table and rolling for a third match. For the next match. With a land, I guess it was. Wow. Which also means, Underhill, that you had a Lotus in your hand. I guess that's why you said you do not want to bemoan the amount of cards that have passed through your hands. Which that's worse than not knowing. And I mean, in a manner of speaking, to have had it and then just not be thinking. And it's crazy when you see older tournaments, like back in, I think it was 96 was like the first one. Like they actually, you see people playing without sleeves. They're just playing the cards. They're not worried about the damage. They're like, it's like Monopoly. Nobody looks at Monopoly money and goes, oh, I should probably take care of this money because it's going to be worth a lot of money in the future. You know, nobody looks at the little tokens and goes, I need to keep this polished to a nice premium shine because, you know, this could be worth a ton. Like, you just don't think about games that way. They didn't think about it that way back then. It was just a game. It was just, yeah, you could collect them and stuff, but I don't think they were thinking, oh, this card is going to be worth ridiculous amounts of money. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has 2 formats, Legacy with a ban list, and Edison, which is a card which guards pre-2013. Pokemon is standard extended. Okay, so they do. Okay, so the bans are rarer and they have fewer formats. The amount of Doge that went through my hands when I sold everything, I mined dwarfs the magic cards by 100-fold. Wait, Doge? Is that don't hang on. So I got to familiarize myself. Sorry. I've heard that Dogecoin. Okay, that's what I kind of thought. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's, I guess, even worse. Horribly. I'm sorry. That's. Luckily, I can't say that I've ever had anything. Oh, I've never owned anything. Never given up anything that was actually worth a ton. That would have been a life changer. So, lack of opportunity, but also, or not opportunity, but lack of exposure, but also didn't have to bemoan. Money's just a tool. I lived for 2 years on the money. Oh, okay. Oh, you sold it. Okay, gotcha. I thought you meant you lost it, like it was like for a fraction. But yeah, I don't want to be rich and I don't need to be. Have you considered to try Pokemon Live? It can easily be played for free. Are you talking about? Oh, so wait, is Pokemon TCG different than Pokemon Pocket? Is that the right? But I haven't, Kebby, because I'm 44 years old. So Pokemon, I missed Pokemon, the Pokemon craze by about 5 years, I think, 5 or 6 years. So I never got into it on the Game Boy. I never got into it as a franchise. And and I guess the lore, as it were, just the aesthetic and everything doesn't appeal to me. Like, I like anime well enough. I like that kind of thing. But I mean, I'll put it this way. I know I'll adamantly say, like, I shouldn't knock it till I try it, but I'm reluctant to try it only because I don't Like I'm not when I got into when I looked into Magic, I went in thinking this might be something I'm going to get into, and so I call it a bias where I kind of wanted to like it, and it's kicked me in the groin enough that I'm going, I don't know if this is going to be a long-term relationship, Magic. I don't know. As a new player, getting into this vast amount of card pool with this many players, and again, content providers, that's the thing. We used to joke, Justin Larson and there were some other guys back when Legends had, a very active streaming culture and lots of channels. You could bet that if Justin Larson played a Doomcrag Vampire blah 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 list, you were going to see that deck probably at least 3 games out of 10. At least 30 to 50% of your games were going to be against that deck because people watched the channel. They liked what they saw how effective it was, at least when he played it. And then they would go and try to play it too. And usually, a lot of times, they weren't even trying to do anything new with it. They were just trying to play what they saw, and they liked it, and they were inspired, which is fine. And being inspired is great, but there is, as I mentioned earlier, and you might know off the top of your head what this is, it's a 4/3 snake-looking thing in green, and a gal, I can't remember her name, but she's not a proper name, but she's a type, a creature type. You gain health by doing damage to your opponent, and the other one gains health or damages his opponent by gaining health or something. There's a synergy there, a very diabolical symmetry. So you only need synergy. So you only need those 2 cards. But anyway, there was a channel. I saw it on a channel when I was looking up Magic the Gathering playing. I was looking for it, just looking to see gameplay, kind of what I think your channel has. And I came across that combo that kicked my butt twice on the night that I played. I'm like, aha! 4 days ago is when that channel put it out, and they've got 200,000 followers. That's why I'm seeing it now. So there is that kind of downside to it too, a little bit, where you have, as a new player, you're not only up against, it's not just everybody, like, Magic back in the day, obviously it was a very communal thing, but it was limited enough, I think, where you didn't have net decks. You weren't playing against people who were just copying other people's stuff. A lot of people were coming up with their own stuff that may be similar to other people and maybe very, very similar, but, because great minds think alike, but it wasn't a guaranteed you're going to come up against this kind of deck because people put it out there. So as a brand new Magic player, all those cards, all the stuff to learn, going cross-eyed on it, plus the fact that I'm up against people that are playing net decks and, a meta that is created by awesome players and content providers, those being propagated into the mix as well, and they're very effective at what they do because they're put together by people who know how to build decks. It can be a little like, well, okay. So I don't know if I'm sold on this yet. I might check out Pokemon. I think I like the idea of collectible card games more than I'm good at playing them. And I think we proved that today. I'm 0 for 3, badly. I didn't really make much of a dent in my opponents. And they were my friends, too. They were taking it easy on me. Pocket is a mobile game. Okay, TCG Live is a mobile and computer game. Okay, gotcha. I'd probably want to do definitely the computer one. I like to have a bigger screen to be able to see stuff. Magic the Gathering Goldfish. Yes, I've been watching some of his stuff. Yep. Saffron Olive is pretty well liked by the community. Yeah, I've checked out. You can learn by playing a lot, but also building a deck that is in the current meta will help. Yeah, that was, well, one, I've got to be able to, like, so if I had to come down to it, Underhill, if it's a deck that I can craft with what I have, I'm likely to do it. But there's that for my brain, the way my mind works, like, for example, if you were to teach me, if you were to give me instructions, a very detailed instruction on how to do task A, and it involves a bunch of different steps and a bunch of different processes, I'm going to retain about 10% of that until I go to do task A. And I go, crap, I don't know what this thing does. And I look at the manual and go, oh, that's what it is. And then I go, okay, I got all this figured out. Okay, this part has me confused. Okay, when I can apply, when I can apply what I'm learning to a particular problem, or if I can engage with the information, I learn it. If I just if I just have a deck and I look through and go, okay, well, I see that. I don't learn it because the deck isn't telling me this synergy works with this. And so unless I watch somebody else play it and go, oh, that's how that card works, I don't learn it for myself. Whereas with what I'm doing now, which is trial by 1,000, or learning by the most painful way possible, is going, okay, this deck doesn't work. What are my problems? All right, well, I don't have enough cards that are versatile enough early on in the game. Okay, I need to find cards that do that. Okay, I'm not drawing enough lands, but when I add more lands and take away creatures, then I just draw lands and I have no creatures. Okay, how do I fix that problem? So I learn a little bit better by interacting with the deck versus if I'm just given the deck, then it's a little harder for me to try to sort out stuff. Whereas if I go, oh, this works well with this light bulb, it can be done passively, but it's a little bit harder. But my problem is if there's an amazing deck that works really well, like Ugnip sent me an angel deck that got him all the way to platinum, but I'm missing 30 of the cards. I'm less likely to spend my resources on a deck that I know is good, but that I have no stake in, that I didn't invest any time in, and that might get me wins if I figure out how to play it properly. But I would rather kind of figure it out for myself, as slow and painful as that might be, than to just use what I've been given. And it's not a pride thing, but to me, there's so much in here to uncover that I feel like I'm going to. It's the same way if I'm riding along with somebody and they're giving me directions, I'll never remember where I'm going. Because my mind just disconnects and I'm not even really paying attention. I can try, but I have to think, okay, I need to pay attention. Whereas if I just had to figure it out on my own, or I had a set of directions and I had to follow them, I would be memorized. Okay, 2 stoplights up, make a left. 2 stoplights up, make a left. And it goes into my brain. Whereas if you just give it to me, spoon feed it to me, I'm more likely to just passively accept it and not actively engage with it. And I'm not saying that that's not changeable. That's just kind of how my brain works as is right now. But yeah, I've watched several Magic MTG Goldfish videos so far. You can learn, don't go crazy, but try to get close to that concept. Right, yeah. So you learn the mechanics that are common and what to expect from certain moves. Yeah. I would say pick a meta deck that you like, that you have some cards for, and watch some videos on playing it. I did that with Hearthstone a few years ago. Ended up at rank 3. Wow, nice. Okay. Now do the decks you want. It's not nationals or something where you need to win. I kind of do, Baldric, though. My reputation. Like, folks come here because I'm a dominant force in gaming. And if I'm not dominating, then I can't even say that with a straight face. Oh my gosh, holy cow, we are 40 minutes into the next stream that is supposed to be Legends. So I hate to do this because I'm interested. Heck, I'm having a great conversation with you all, and I love it. Kebby, thank you so much for coming by here. Underhill, it's been a great conversation. I like the back and forth and different perspective. A lot of times you don't necessarily get that on a video game thing, but I've been trying to be very big about discard changes. Being faithful to Tesla while it's still here. So like I'll probably be next week. There may be 1 or 2 days that I stream Magic the Gathering, kind of a similar thing, exploring, trying to figure it out. But I'm trying to not stick with the Tesla community, but trying to continue on Tesla in what I've committed to, at least, which is the live at 5, war at 4 kind of thing, for the people that are still actively playing, and the people that still want to see it. It's going away here in a couple months. So, are you telling? I'm not ditching you guys. We're gonna go to do the legend thing that everybody loves and stuff. I think I might have to do a different. I think I have to shut down stream and do a new stream. Because otherwise it muddies the water too much. So yeah, I'm gonna have to end the stream here. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. It's been a whirlwind. There's been so much stuff going around. It's been fun. It's been energetic. It's been engaging. I love it. And yeah, at least 1 day, probably 2 next week. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do 2 days for Magic. I'll still do Legends. I probably won't do it before live at 5 because of the tendency to go long. But maybe like on a Wednesday, Thursday or something, I'll do Magic again. But reach out if you want help building decks. I most likely will, Kevy. I likely will. And again, folks, check out Kevy's channel. Where is it? I posted it earlier, but I'll post it again if you want to see. Well, let me actually, because I want to be able to say what's there. Let me take a look at it. So
what is a home?
Again, I'm not going to plagiarize your content or anything, but
costs when parts of your home systems and appliances break down due to normal wear and tear. Home warranties protect what home insurance.
Stop talking, lady. I mean, is it Magic the Gathering? Oh, it's members only. Let's see. Videos. There we go. So they're arena. So yeah, dude, I'll just be checking out your channel. You're like I want to see the gameplay, but I also want to hear what the thoughts are. So yeah, this is probably going to be my jam for the foreseeable future. And just right now, I'm just trying to absorb as much as I can. Because like Baldrick said, I'm not in a rush to be dominant. I'm still trying to figure out, if just even my brain works for this kind of thing. I think anybody can probably get decent. Like can play well. Give them a good deck, give them enough time, and they'll be able to play it well. But does it have all the depth that I hope it does? I don't know. But yeah. So this channel here. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I actually did that with I don't know. Are you familiar with the Cryptic Commander? He actually helped the very first video of this we did. He actually did the same thing. We got on Discord and he kind of walked me through some stuffs. So yeah, maybe I'll reach out to you. Like you said, your email's on there. I'll send you an email in the next couple of days, and just to see maybe with some general questions, and just to see about scheduling maybe a time that we can have you on, and obviously give a shout out to the channel and promote that, but also. Get you live on Discord and kind of giving some guidance, maybe on a deck that we kind of, work on together or something. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. But yeah, okay. All right. I'm going to switch gears. We'll jump on Legends about 5 minutes or so. We'll get that stream started. And I got to apologize for being 45 minutes late. Oh my gosh. All right. But it has been a pleasure, gents.